You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. It is a tailgate party here in Tampa. Raymond James Stadium, the site where the South Florida Bulls look for their first win of 2019, welcoming in the South Carolina State Bulldogs. Hello, everybody. Welcome inside the booth. Drew Felios alongside the former Florida State national champion, Forrest Connolly. Well, for a game that did not look like much in the offseason, all of a sudden, this one's got added importance here today. South Florida has not won in their last 8 outings dating back to last year, with the makings of a quarterback controversy foe. Lots to talk about and lots of questions to be answered for South Florida.
Well, the coaching staffs always talk about checking the boxes. For South Florida, this is an opportunity to check all of the boxes. They've had the toughest first 2 games scheduled, I think, in all of the NCAA, playing against a Wisconsin ball club that can pretty much beat up on anybody, and then a Georgia Tech ball club that has a really tough defense. So this is that opportunity that they're looking for, and I think they need to try and right the ship right now.
Yeah, for the Bulls, lots of transition. Their new offensive coordinator, Kerwin Bell, anxious, determined to get this offense rolling again. Where does it start?
Well, it starts with the offensive line. They've got to do a better job of opening holes and creating opportunities for their quarterback, for their running back. It was interesting when we talked to the South Carolina State coaching staff. They felt they had an advantage with their defensive line against the offensive line for South Florida because of the transition to the new system under Coach Bell. So that'll be an interesting matchup. Jordan Cronkite has to run the ball more effectively. He averaged over 6 yards a carry last season. This year, he's down to just over 1 yard a carry, 1.4 to be exact. He has to do a better job of finding those seams, but the offensive line, they need to get a surge. They need to give him somewhere to go with the football.
South Carolina State, meanwhile, with Shaq Davis, an elite receiver, a star in the making. Alex Taylor along the offensive line, 6'9" tall. He is a good one. It's Bulldogs and Bulls coming up from Tampa in just a moment. Set to roll in Tampa. Charlie Strong leading the South Florida Bulls out onto the field. Looking to get in the win column for the first time in 2019. Bulldogs of South Carolina State hoping to shock the world here today in Tampa, where it is a little sticky. 85 degrees, feels like about 90 to 95. Got some wind here in the stadium today. Chance of rain also a little bit later on as the tropical system moves towards Florida. Buddy Pough, head coach for South Carolina State, 18th season at his alma mater, hoping that this team can have a little bit of balance. They've usually relied on their defense in Bulldogs country. Feels like this offense could be one of the best that he has ever coached. Couple MEAC titles, 4 FCS postseasons as well. On the other side, Charlie Strong, 17-10 all-time at South Florida in his 3rd season. He shook up the coaching staff in the offseason as a result of those 6 straight losses a year ago. Offensive coordinator Kerwin Bell, we mentioned one of those big hires, as we've got the coin toss here. Of course, South Florida in the familiar green and gold. South Carolina State in the visiting white.
And with the weather, I'd rather be South Carolina State right now. As hot as it is out here, you don't want to have dark colors on. You want to have every type of advantage that you can. Let's see how that plays out as this game progresses.
Kerwin Bell came from Valdosta State to get this Bulls offense rolling. They have not shown many signs of that. Did rally late at Georgia Tech last week, but still could not pick up the win late. Bulls will receive it. And for South Florida, some news that we just got moments ago. Force, they will have a new starter at quarterback here in week 3, as they will go to the redshirt freshman Jordan McLeod. Bulls fans sensing it, and I don't think many people in this stadium know what is about to happen, but exciting times here for South Florida.
Well, we got a sense of it when we talked to Coach Bell, when we talked to Coach Strong. They talked about both quarterbacks having equal reps throughout this week. And the one thing that Coach Bell talked about is McLeod's ability to give the team that spark. Every time that he's coming to the ball game, they've got a spark. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays his first start. You know, he's home. This is a big-time opportunity. He just has to let the game come to him, not try to do too much.
So South Carolina State to kick it away. Back to receive for South Florida. That is number 80, Cordell Johnson. Kick is away, and we're underway from Tampa. Ball dropped at the 5-yard line. Taken up across the 10. Nice move made there into the 22-yard line. Goes to Kobe Durant. Size up these two quarterbacks. Blake Barnett, the redshirt senior. Some bumps in the road late last season and early this season as well. Jordan McLeod, meanwhile, the redshirt freshman with all the potential, just chomping at the bit to get his opportunity, and that comes today.
Well, what I expect right now, when you've got a young quarterback, his first start, everything is on the offensive line. You want to get the running game established. What that will do, that will allow McLeod to get comfortable in that backfield and be able to pass the ball vertically down the field.
Jordan Cronkite's the running back. Johnny Ford will get the football on first down. Little jet sweep right. Not much doing there. Bulldogs have got some speed on defense. So Jordan McLeod with that first collegiate start. Very laid-back young man. He's from Tampa. Started playing high school just up the road. And he is the younger brother of Ray McLeod, who Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans will know just played against them for the Carolina Panthers on Thursday night. McLeod, his first throw is caught. No, it's dropped. Incomplete. So Bulldogs bringing the heat on the outside, and it'll be third down.
And your receivers have to help your quarterback, especially when you've got a young quarterback. Randall St. Felix has to make that catch. You've got to squeeze the football. You know the defender's coming to hit you from behind and try and jar the ball loose. Help your young quarterback out.
South Florida now spreading things out. 4 wide receivers. It's third down and 13. Not the situation that the young McLeod wants to be in here on the Bulls side of the field. A little bit of pressure, and he goes down back at the 10-yard line. So sacked by Tyrell Goodwin, the big man getting credit for the Bulldogs.
And that's what the South Carolina State coaching staff talked about. They felt that they matched up extremely well. They actually felt they had an advantage. And when you look at Tyrell Goodman, he's 6 feet tall, so he has a very low center of gravity. For an offensive lineman, it's very difficult to block someone like that because you've got to get lower than he is. And when you've got a 6'4", 6'5" guy trying to block him, they've got to bend at the knees as opposed to waist.
Trent Schneider, first punt for South Florida. And the ball's taken at the 35-yard line by Jawan Moody. Moody's taken down. This play on special teams made for the Bulls, so a shaky first start for South Florida. Darius Slade made the tackle there. And now for South Carolina State, Tyrese Nick getting the start at quarterback. And how about their quarterback situation? It's a 3-headed monster right now for the Bulldogs.
Well, it's something that I have not seen in all the games that I've ever been a part of. You've got the dual threat and Tyrese Nick. Then you've got Corey Fields, who played for this team last week. He's more of a pocket passer. He did a great job in that win. But Quincy Hill, the third quarterback, is more of a zone read, zone option type player. So they can hit you with 3 different types of quarterbacks.
South Carolina State, only 1 turnover so far this year. And just as I say that, the second turnover. South Florida recovers as Greg Reeves is on top of it.
And it never looked like the back had good possession of the football. You've got to squeeze the football. It looked like almost a read RPO play, and the quarterback didn't give the ball fully to the back. You see him pulling the ball out. I think the quarterback wanted to keep the football, but a good job by Reeves and that defense from South Florida to beat Johnny on the spot and get on top of the football. And that's something that defensive coordinator Brian Jean Mary talked about. They want to average 3 turnovers a ball game.
Greg Reeves making the play for the Bulls. Senior out of Bradenton. Ball back to McLeod now. Fake the pitch. Try and take it upfield. And he's got it to the 44-yard line. Short gain there. B.J. Davis, the redshirt freshman for South Carolina State.
And right now, I'm seeing a surge from the defensive line for South Carolina State. The offensive line are getting pushed back. They have to play lower with low pad level. You see number 74 and the right guard, number 78, getting pushed back into the backfield. They've got to do a better job of playing with a lower center of gravity.
Here's McLeod facing the blitz and fires incomplete. Randall St. Felix, the intended target, tried to squeeze it in there. Kobe Durant on the coverage for South Carolina State.
And that's one thing I think we'll see a lot of this afternoon. South Carolina State bringing the blitz. When you've got a young quarterback, you want to bring all kinds of looks for him. You don't want him to get comfortable back there.
Jordan McLeod with a 75% plus completion percentage in practice this week. Coach is tracking that. He's been practicing outstanding, and he has earned the nod here today. Johnny Ford in motion. McLeod looks his way. Now dumps it the other way to Cronkite, who wasn't expecting it. And it'll be incomplete. 4th down and 11 now, and another punting situation for the Bulls.
And they had the screen set up perfectly. McLeod has to take a little bit off the football. You see Cronkite, the ball was just a bit high for him, but they had blocking set up. When you're facing an aggressive defense like South Carolina State is bringing, that's how you defeat that defense. You run misdirection and you run screen plays. You let them get up the field and you get the ball to your athletes in space.
So McLeod and the offense unable to convert a 1st down. Jawan Moody back on the field for the visitors. Trent Schneider, the 29-year-old punter for USF. And a touchback coming. First quarter underway from Tampa. Scoreless here at Ray J.
NFL Prime Time is back on Sunday nights, airing exclusively on ESPN Plus at 7:30 p.m. Eastern all season long.
Oh, what great news for ESPN Plus and NFL coverage throughout the year. And how about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off a big win at Carolina on Thursday Night Football? Take a shot downfield, and that's good coverage for the Bulls. KJ Sales elevating that time as Shaq Davis, the redshirt freshman, was the intended target.
And Nick has to put a little bit more air under the football. Shaq Davis has a 6-inch height advantage over KJ Sales. You want to put the ball up in the air and allow Shaq Davis to high point that football.
South Carolina State averaging 31 points per game. 140 on the ground, 192 through the air. Certainly a different test, though, this afternoon against this Bulls defense. 2nd down and 10 now from the 20. Tyrese Nick stepping back, and a little screen pass, maybe a behind pass. Looked like it's barely a forward pass as Darius Slade was ready to jump on top of it and return it for 6.
And the back has to squeeze the football. You can't worry about the contact coming. He looked at all the defenders running towards him, all of the pursuit. But you've got to get possession of the football before you can try and make a football play.
Tyrese Nick, the junior out of Johnston, South Carolina, started the end of last season. And this is where the Bulldogs need to get better on 3rd down. Just over 30%. They need 10 here. Nick firing over the middle's got his man, and a 1st down for South Carolina State. So Wolverine makes the grab, and they'll move the chains.
And it all starts at the line of scrimmage. He had all the time that he needed to allow his receiver to get into the open of that defense, and a good job getting over the linebacker Dwayne Boyle's head to receive that catch. You see number 11 Boyles right there, but the ball is right over his outstretched hands to the receiver.
To the ground game now. The quarterback will keep it. It's Nick, and he'll get it across the 45-yard line. Met in the hole right there. Greg Reeves once again. And a helmet lost that time. Darius Slade looks like his hat came off. And he'll have to come out of the game. So not the start that South Florida was looking for. 2 possessions, 6 plays, 2 punts. And now the Bulldogs coming back the other way. Tyrese Nick standing in, lofting one towards the sideline. Got his man at the 25-yard line. And that's the 2nd catch for Vereen, who has had a tremendous week of practice and is starting to cash in right here.
And that's a great back shoulder, one-handed catch by Vereen. Not the greatest throw, but watch how he adjusts to the football. He actually gets 2 hands under the football, but a great job on the back shoulder catch, adjusting, squeezing the ball and bringing it to his body, not allowing it to touch the ground. Coverage was there. The defender couldn't do anything better. That was just a better catch.
South Carolina State's got something cooking here. Keeper again, it's Tyrese Nick. And taken down this time by Bentley Sanders. Number 20, getting in there for the Bulls.
You know, it's interesting, Drew. When we did our opening, you talked about, 8 consecutive losses for South Florida. Right now, they've got to learn how to win again. That's one of the biggest issues when you go through a losing streak like they have coming out of last season and coming into this season. They've got to learn how to win and experience winning again.
South Florida was overwhelmed by Wisconsin, in it against Georgia Tech, and South Carolina State right now playing some downhill, hard-nosed football. That's LeBron Morris with his first carry, and he got a great block.
Now watch the big fella, number 73. You see him get to the outside. You see him use those go-go gadget arms to get the defender and get him moving the right way. He does a good job. Now, he has to be careful. You want to keep those hands inside the breastplate because the officials will watch that, and they will call holding on that, but a good job on that play.
3rd and short. South Carolina State owning the total yard situation so far. Bulls crowd comes alive here in Tampa. Haynes in motion for the Bulldogs. And looked like a little mix up there. Tyrese Nick is going to get a first down for South Carolina State. He'll get inside the 15-yard line. Had to get to the 16.
And right now, this South Carolina State ball club looks very comfortable running their offense. They've been able to get positive yards. They've been able to go vertical with the passing game. They've got a big pass down the middle. They've successfully converted some 3rd downs to 1st downs, running the football effectively.
First down. Tyrese Nick hands it off again. More hard running by LeBron Morris, who was the starting running back a couple seasons ago, had to redshirt last year, was just not himself, injured often, but he has got tremendous vision inside the hole, and this guy can certainly make you miss and have yards after contact.
And one thing to be watchful of is South Florida's best tackler, Patrick Macon, is not playing in the first half. He got kicked out of last week's ball game for a penalty, an illegal hit penalty, so he's sitting out the first half. So that might be why they're kind of soft in the middle right now on that defense.
Nick surveying the field, goes short with it, and it's incomplete. I was looking for number 48, Nancy Washington, his big tight end, who goes 240 pounds for the Bulldogs, and it'll be 3rd down and long.
And that was a good job by the South Florida defense on the back end to not give Nick anywhere to go with the football. As the field gets shorter, it's easier for defensive backs and linebackers to be in coverage because they don't have as much field to cover.
2 for 2 on 3rd down for South Carolina State. Got to get it to about the 4-yard line here. Play clock winding down. They get it off. Tyrese Nick makes one defender miss. Trying to look for that chain, and let's see, did he get there? And I believe he did.
And that was an excellent read by Nick. You had a linebacker walked up on the right side with the ball fake. Everybody went down. So it's one-on-one, and you see Nick's escapability in the perimeter to beat a defender and get by him around the edge to get the first down. If I'm a coach and I've got my quarterback, Nick, who's done well in the open field, I feel confident about him going one-on-one with the linebacker.
Tyrese Nick, a dual threat quarterback. Can throw it, can run it. Seen what he brings to the field here in this second drive. So 1st and goal. Nick looks for a hole to the outside, then cuts it in. And he'll be stopped at about the 3. Andrew Mims made the tackle for South Florida.
And right now, this is where you challenge your defensive line. They've got to get penetration. The low man wins. You usually see guys in a 4-point stance right now trying to uproot the offensive lineman.
Long drive here for South Carolina State. Trying to cap it off with 6. Throw into the end zone, and it's incomplete. Good coverage by KJ Sales, who was able to get a hand on it that time. It'll be 3rd down.
And a good job by Sales not going through the defender but reaching around the defender You see Sales right now paying attention to the defender. I think the offensive player turned to the wrong side. Burrows, you need to turn outside. He turned to the inside looking for the football, and I think Nick realizes they missed one on that play.
South Carolina State looking right into that sea of Bulls students in the end zone. Tyrese Nick, option time, pitches. I don't know if that was such a good idea.
Too much penetration. When you've got that type of penetration, you can't go with the pitch. He was better off keeping the ball and trying to get back around the left edge. But you had so much penetration. The offensive line has to do a better job of being stout at the point of attack and not allowing those defenders to get up the field because there's nowhere to go with the football.
So here is Dylan Bredesen, the sophomore, who's 2 of 3 on field goal tries so far. This is a 25-yard attempt. His long is from 27. And this one's up and good. So the Bulldogs go down the field impressively, and they're all on the board first here in Tampa. About midway through the first quarter, South Carolina State is on the scoreboard. And for the Bulls, Blake Barnett has to watch from the sideline today, at least temporarily, as he has been replaced as the starting quarterback by Jordan McLeod, who's gone 2 series, has not been able to get a first down yet. How long do they stick with the redshirt freshman, or is that not a question right now? You just let him do his thing and settle in?
Well, I think you've at least got to give him a full quarter to see if he's able to get something going. For Barnett, he's got to be a team player. I know he wants to play. You know, it's his senior year. He's gone through a lot to get to this point, but he's got to be a team player, be a mentor to McLeod, and understand that he's one play away from getting back in this ball game, the team depending on him. So he's got to remain positive because he knows everybody's watching him right now. His body language will tell everyone a lot about if he's involved in this ball game. He has to stay engaged.
He's been through so much. Started his football career at Alabama at the collegiate level, and then left there, went to Arizona State, played some junior college football before coming to South Florida. Today it's all about Jordan McLeod. First down from the 25-yard line. South Florida running the football, and this is what they need. Jordan Cronkite out of bounds at the 35, picked up about 10, and that should be a first.
That's a great job by the pulling guard to get around and get the closeout block right there. You don't have to have a knockout block. All you need to do is get in the way, and you've got Cronkite one-on-one with a defender, and I think the coaching staff feels very comfortable about that situation.
McLeod sees a little bit of real estate as that middle starts to loosen up just a little bit.
And this is what I think you need to see from South Florida. Establish a rushing attack right now. That will allow the young quarterback to get into a rhythm. But you've got to establish a rushing attack. You've got a big-time offensive line. They go 6'4", about 318 across the board. You've got to establish that running game.
McLeod throwing to the outside, and this one's caught by Kevin Perlett, the senior wideout out of Miramar. And not just that, it's the tempo forced that Kerwin Bell is looking for. They want to see just quicker movement, getting in and out of the huddle, and just making plays.
And that's how you help your quarterback right there, making the difficult catch on the sideline.
Need one on third down. McLeod cuts it inside. He'll have a first down and a lot more. How about the redshirt freshman as the crowd comes alive here at Raymond James?
Well, that's what you want to see. You want to see your quarterback get positive yards. You want to see movement up front with your offensive lineman. And it should be noted, William Atterbury, number 78, moved back to right guard. He was playing left tackle, and they moved Donovan Jennings back out to left tackle. So you see more movement, and you see the ability to beat those slashing 3 techniques trying to get inside movement.
Bulls trying to run left. It's Cronkite and Jalen Evans knocking him out of bounds. Bulldogs defense, not hustle, not athleticism. They hold each other accountable. Giving up only 114 rushing yards on average so far this year. So the Bulldogs stout against the run. 2nd and 9 for the Bulls. McLeod stepping up. Pockets open. Open receiver downfield. Touchdown! Johnny Ford reels it in, and the Bulls are on the board.
And you see the ability by McLeod running the ball effectively. You've got linebackers watching him, and you see him right here. He knows exactly where he wants to go, does a good job of avoiding the pass rush and delivering a strike where his back, all he had to do was run under the football. A great job by the back, Johnny Ford, to run up under the football, but a better job by McLeod to avoid that rush and get the ball down the field.
Kobe Weiss on for the extra point. It's the first touchdown of the season here at Raymond James Stadium. Oh, it was pretty. Johnny Ford running free, 42 yards to pay dirt for South Florida. Well, that is one relieved offensive coordinator in Kerwin Bell, chatting with his quarterback Jordan McLeod during the break. 42-yard strike, 7-3 your score. The Bulls over the Bulldogs. Great to have you with us from Raymond James Stadium. Drew Felios, Forrest Connolly. Bulls finally score their first points at home, and it was a pretty play from McLeod.
Well, one of the things Coach Bell talked about is number 78, William Atterbury, moving back to guard, right guard. And you see because he has quick feet and doesn't allow those three techniques to fight across his face. Well, he's beat on this play by Rod Perry, number 91, but he does a good job of recovering and getting just a bit of push to allow Jordan McLeod to step up in the pocket and deliver a strike down the field.
That's what you call teamwork, having each other's back, right?
Absolutely. You cannot give up on a play. Although you get beat on the initial snap, you have to continue to fight through, and you have to understand that your quarterback is athletic enough to move around the pocket. You see, the other lineman did a good job to give him a pocket to move side to side, so that was a good job by the tackles to keep the width of that pocket to allow McLeod to step to the side.
Tyrese Nick nearly intercepted. Oh, wow. That was in the hands of Dwayne Boyles, the sophomore linebacker out of Miami. Nearly had an easy one.
And one of the things that happens when you get a touchdown like South Florida did, it gives the defense a little bit more energy. And those guys come out wanting to make another big play, just like the offense did. It's kind of a contest. Let's see who can make more big plays. You've got the defense that got the fumble recovery. Now you've got the big touchdown by the offense. Defense, now it's your turn.
Back to the ground game. Nick will keep this one and fire it. And this one is incomplete. So that one should have been caught. Shaq Davis trying to settle in. One thing you won't see from Charlie Strong's defense also, Fo, you won't see a turnover chain here.
Well, one thing, watch on this play, if Nick looks down the field, he's got Demontrez Burrows running free. You can't see right there. See number 1 at the top of the screen on the right? He was running down the field uncovered. He has to do a better job of looking down the field. He had some open receivers on that play.
3 of 4 on third down for South Carolina State. They need 10. Spread things out with 4 wide receivers. South Florida showing blitz. Here it comes. Under pressure, Nick unloads it. Has a man out there. Oh, nearly caught. That would have been a sensational catch, but Thomas couldn't come up with it. And Bentley Sanders did a good job of covering for South Florida. It's 4th down.
And good pressure by Kirk Livingstone. Getting in his face. He's the best pass rusher for South Florida. He has the ability to play on the outside and in the nickel defense, shift to a defensive tackle and still get pressure on the quarterback.
So a punting situation here for South Carolina State. Cliff Benjamin. Taken from the 37. And at the 42-yard line, KJ Sales on the return for South Florida. I mentioned Charlie Strong, the turnover chain. You won't see anything like that here in Tampa. Why is that, Forrest?
Well, he's an old school coach, and like Coach Strong told us yesterday, that's a part of what you're supposed to do on defense. So it should not be a special celebration about getting turnovers. That's a part of what we want to accomplish, and a part of being a great defense is creating turnovers. So they're not going to do anything extra to celebrate a turnover.
First down and 10. Run it one more time. Here's Cronkite. And notice Jordan Cronkite wears the number 2 for South Florida. You won't see a number 1 for South Florida either. That's also something that Charlie Strong says, hey, there is no number 1 on our team. Emphasizing team at all times. Cronkite again takes it across midfield, and it's those little things that add up to one big thing for Strong's program.
And one thing I want to take a look at and be on the watch out for is the defensive line for South Carolina State and the attrition as this game progresses. They've got a 2-inch height disadvantage and a 56-pound across the board weight advantage. So you'll see that these South Florida offensive linemen are starting to lean on those players a little bit more. Let's see how they fare with this humidity.
Hand it off again. And it'll be a real short pickup this time. And that carry by Kelly Joyner. Only a freshman out of Groveland. A young emerging star. We're seeing for the South Florida team. It is amazing when you look at the makeup of this Bulls roster. 91 out of 107 players for USF are from the state of Florida. McLeod looks one way, tosses the other. Ford makes a nice grab, spins, and takes it down to the 43. Xavier Johnson, the tackle for South Carolina State.
And you had a little bit of video game on this play. First of all, Ford snatches the ball with his right hand, one-handed, then he comes up, he jukes the player, then he spins, he gets hit, and he spins and gets positive yards. That's what you want to do. Get your ball to your athletes in space and allow them to make plays.
South Florida now needs 6. Extra man up top now for the Bulldogs. McLeod fakes it, and a rusher in his face, he'll go down. Sack made by Bruce Johnson, big number 98.
And the offensive line has to do a better job. You see right here, you cannot get beat to the inside. Number 77, Marcus Norman. When you set that right foot back, look at the left side of your screen, he opened up those outside shoulders. So what he did, he gave an easy path to the inside. As an offensive tackle, you've got to keep your shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. That way you can react with a hard inside step, power step when the defensive lineman tries to fight across your face. Because he opened himself up so wide, he had no way to turn back inside and power step.
So Moody back on the field for South Carolina State. Trent Schneider punts this one away. It takes a Bulls bounce. If they can down this one inside the 5, it'll be a great play, and they do just that. So an outstanding play made by Andrew Mims on special teams, and now a chance for this South Florida defense to feast.
And so far, so good for this South Carolina defensive line. Although they gave up the big touchdown, they've done a really good job of getting pressure on the quarterback, on McLeod, not allowing him to be really, really comfortable in passing situations.
Well, this guy's got to get going. Shaq Davis doesn't have a catch so far. They've targeted him a couple times. Has not been able to squeeze it. Tyrese Nick, meanwhile, had the long drive that led to the field goal. He'll be operating out of his own end zone here. Nick flares it out. Wolverine, the catch, tries to turn it upfield, makes something of it, but Mike Hampton not having any of it. This guy's a player.
Well, sometimes you got to know when to get down. And Raymond, when you get as many yards as you can and you see all the defenders come and get down because you don't want to get the ball jarred loose. Right here, okay, you can't get anything else. Get down because now guys are getting free shots on you.
Five-yard pickup. It's second down. Run it this time and just too much penetration. Bulls again cracking down, and Dwayne Boyles, sophomore out of Miami, makes a nice stop for no gain.
And for South Carolina State, you have to pick your poison right now. If you try to get to the outside, you've got so much speed for South Florida. You don't want to put your back in a position where they can lose yardage because you're so close to your own goal line. But in the middle of that offensive line, you've got to get pushed because, you know, everything is surging. You know, those linebackers are stepping up in those gaps because they figure you're not going to try to pass the ball vertically being this close to your own goal line.
They lost 2 on the last play, and it makes it 3rd and 7. Tyrese Nick waiting for that screen, and it's in and out of the hands of Omar Cummings. So it'll be fourth down for the Bulldogs. Nick a little frustrated that time.
Well, Cummings had some room to possibly make a play if he's able to squeeze the football. But when you've got pressure like Nick is facing, I think he's prematurely releasing the football. If he would have waited and set his feet, he would have been able to take a little bit off of that football, allow Cummings to get possession, and possibly get the first down.
Cliff Benjamin to punt it away for South Carolina State. Short punt. And South Florida will once again have great field position to work with. The late flag comes down here at the 30-yard line.
Several flags. I think every official on the field saw whatever happened.
Got a little chippy towards the end of the play. It's been a relatively clean game played here thus far throughout this first quarter. See Antonio Greer getting a little talking to on the sideline. Officials trying to sort out who was the guilty party here.
There were 2 fouls after the play. Personal foul, 33 of the kicking team. Personal foul, 44 of the receiving team. Those fouls offset. Ball will be placed at the dead ball spot. First down.
Take one more look here.
You see down at the bottom of the screen, a late hit, and they start swinging. And what's interesting is number 44 for South Florida acts as though he doesn't know what's going on. Well, you got the late hit, Greer, and you started what happened on that play. And it's good that the officials saw both players. They usually only see the second player, so I'm glad that they saw both players.
Back to McLeod. Plenty of time to throw. Tries that right side and overshoots Randall St. Felix.
And so far, McLeod has missed on some plays, and I think he just needs to settle down a little bit more. When you're young, you miss on plays, especially when you're getting your first ever start.
Interesting, Coach Strong said, right now we don't necessarily need the best quarterback. We need the best guy for this particular offense. Who meshes the best?
And these are some of the things that you face when you bring in a new coordinator like Coach Bell in a new system.
Second down now for the Bulls. Line gets set. McLeod calls his own number again, finds the opening, cuts it upfield to the 20, inside the 15 and spinning down inside the 5. First and goal, South Florida.
And you see the ability. That is running back ability, but first of all, the center makes adjustments on this play. You see him, he's calling out the Mike linebacker in this defense. That allows everyone to know their blocking assignment and the blocking scheme. And you see McLeod's ability to get to the open field.
Now a flare to the left. And ball caught there by Jannard Phillips. He'll be pushed out of bounds at around the 4 as Dwayne Nichols knocks him out there. South Florida knocking on the door. We've played one quarter from Tampa. The Bulls with a touchdown and looking for more when we return. Start of the second quarter here in Tampa, 7-3. South Florida leading South Carolina State. Great to have you with us on ESPN Plus, the American Conference on ESPN. Drew Felios, Forrest Connolly. New starting quarterback for the Bulls, Jordan McLeod. In the face of what could be an oncoming storm. Possible inclement weather on the way here right in the heart of the city of Tampa. Bulls back to the ground game. Try and hit it up the gut, but South Carolina State there to stand up. Jordan Cronkite.
And if I'm South Florida, I'm running the football again. I'm challenging my offensive line. These are the things that you look for from your offensive linemen. They need to step up and they need to accept the challenger. Inside the 5-yard line, you've got a 56-pound weight advantage over the defensive line. You need to step up and answer the challenge and be able to push those guys back into the end zone.
Look at big number 78, William Atterbury, the right guard for South Florida, digging in. McLeod with time. Lofts it. End zone. Incomplete. Trying to get it to Randall St. Felix. Good coverage by Jacoby Durant. And it'll be 4th down.
And I think what this does is this gives South Carolina State hope. It gives them confidence because they did not try to run the football inside the 5-yard line to get the touchdown.
So field goal crew comes on for the Bulls. Kobe Weiss trotting on. Coach Bell, another moment with McLeod. And USF trying to extend their lead. Weiss, the junior out of Gainesville, puts it right down the pipes for South Florida. Kerwin Bell and Jordan McLeod, the offensive faces of the future for South Florida. South Florida Bulls extending their lead 10-3. Second quarter just underway from Tampa. Possible storm on the way here to Raymond James Stadium. So far, so good, though. Hopefully, Mother Nature holds up throughout the evening as South Florida looks for their first win of 2019. Jawan Moody back to receive for South Carolina State. Spencer Schrader, the kickoff for the Bulls. And we'll have a touchback on the way for the Bulldogs. Well, next Saturday, ABC goes to Austin for Oklahoma State and number 12 Texas. Been 4 years since the Longhorns defeated the Cowboys. Last win for Texas over the Pokes at home was in 2008. Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ABC and the ESPN app. Oklahoma State leading Tulsa in the 4th quarter. 33-21 is that score as we continue to keep you updated throughout the country. Tyrese Nick at the controls of the South Carolina State offense. Did have the one impressive drive, but that's about it thus far. Try and pound this one between the tackles. Not much work in there. Greg Reeves, again, number 4, right in the middle of everything. Greg Reeves, I'll tell you what, this number 4 is a great story for South Florida, an inspiration. Former walk-on, waited for his scholarship, was promised one under Willie Taggart's regime. Coach Taggart leaves, a new system comes in for us, and guess what? No promises at a scholarship. He had to reprove himself to Charlie Strong's coaching staff, and he did just that.
Well, what he did is he put his head down and he went out there and he made plays. And that's all the coaching staff asks of players. Go out and earn it, and he did twice.
Nice play made by Darius Slade. And another helmet comes off. That's the second time his hat has come off here this afternoon.
And you see all of the penetration by the South Florida defensive linemen. They're getting to the backfield. There's nowhere for Nick to go with the football. That's what you want to see from a defensive perspective, is penetration by your line.
Third down. And very long for the Bulldogs. Nick under pressure. South Florida starting to penetrate up front. And that's good coverage by Mike Hampton once again. And the Bulls defense will get off in another 3 and out.
Excellent job by Hampton turning around, locating the football, and making a play on the football. That's all you can ask of your defensive backs. Don't go through the defender. Go up and make a play on the football. And you saw what he did as the ball got close to the receiver's hands when Vereen tried to squeeze it. Hampton knocked it away. He did not go through the offensive player. He went through the football.
Hampton, one of those guys that's got next level potential for the Bulls. Out of Hillsborough High School, they've produced some good ones in the past.
Well, a lot of times you see defensive backs now running and not turning around and locating the football, and that's what I think makes him have that Sunday potential.
South Florida once again have it in pretty good field position. You know, if Tyson Fury wants a rematch with WBC heavyweight champ Deontay Wilder, he'll have to get it past the big Swede Otto Wallin tonight. Fury defends his title on ESPN Plus in English and Spanish at 11 Eastern. To order the main card, go to espnplus.com/top rank. Be sure to download the ESPN app if you're watching on your mobile device. You can stream the undercard starting at 7:30 Eastern Time.
And every time I think about Tyson Fury, it's like watching The Undertaker, the wrestler, when he got up when Deontay Wilder hit him and everyone thought he was out. A real awkward guy to fight. He's a huge man, and he has such power when he punches an individual.
False start. Offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That is Donovan Jennings, who is the left tackle. Did play a little bit of guard earlier this year, but moved to that tackle spot by Kerwin Bell.
Well, Coach Bell came in and he saw how powerful he was, and he thought that he would do really well inside. But he's not able to get, on those three techniques slanting down, so they moved him back to his natural position of left tackle.
McLeod avoids the rush. Nicely done. Now running for his life and just gets rid of it.
And that was a good job by McLeod, avoiding the rush and looking down the field. He didn't see anything he liked, so he got rid of the football. But you see pressure right off the bat, number 15 coming off the edge, B.J. Davis unblocked, and that's one of those young players that South Carolina State's defensive coaches talked about that stepped up to the plate and came to play this season. He starts showing it in camp, and you see what he's been able to do in this ball game.
B.J. Davis did not play last week for South Carolina State. Happy to be back in there, and McLeod just unloads it again under heavy pressure. Johnny Ford wondering what was that.
Well, right now the defensive line for South Carolina State is winning the battle in the trenches. They're continuing to get pressure up the field.
See that front, Xavier Johnson, number 99, Rod Perry, number 91, Paul McGeever, 76, he's a senior. 3rd and 15 now. Jordan McLeod back to throw. He'll go over the middle with it, and he'll be knocked away. And an ugly series for South Florida. Janelle Brown, the senior linebacker, gets a hand on it, and the Bulls have to punt.
Well, what South Carolina State did was they came with a 3-man front. They brought a delayed blitz, which made McLeod get rid of the football, and those linebackers are sitting back in zone coverage, and they're watching the quarterback's eyes. When you've got a young quarterback, they tend to eyeball their receivers at times. So what they're doing is they're sitting back in zone coverage. They're keeping an eye on the quarterback. So he has to be very careful and methodical where he goes with the football.
Trent Schneider on the field again. Fair catch called for. Taken in at the 12-yard line by South Carolina State. 7-point lead for USF. The rain has just started to come down here at Raymond James Stadium, with the Bulls leading 10-3. The band is ready. They've prepared for it.
Preparation is the key to success.
7-point lead for the Bulls. South Carolina State has the football from the 12-yard line. First down for Tyrese Nick. Nick fakes the handoff, rolls right, surveys the field, now goes across his body, incomplete. Forrest, let me ask you this. You played a lot of times in rainy football games. What's the one that really stands out to you over the course of your career?
That's a tough one. I think probably the first ACC game I started at Duke, 1993. The grass was really high. It was a rainstorm. It was muddy, and it was one of those games where you want to get through the game without injury, but you want to establish your rushing attack, because that's what you need to do in games where it gets really, really nasty outside.
Second down. And nice tackle made this time by Rashawn Yates. Number 91, certainly not ideal conditions, but players have to learn how to play in adverse weather conditions, don't they?
Absolutely. That's what makes football so great, because the elements are a part of the game, whether it's snow, whether it's ice, whether it's rain, whether it's heat, whether it's intense cold. That's a part of the game. That's a part of the adjustment that you have to make in game.
Rare chance for South Carolina State to play in an NFL stadium today. 3 of 7 on third down. Tyrese Nick under pressure, unloads it, and it'll be caught right in front of the first down marker is Demontrez Burrows. will move the chains for the Bulldogs.
And a good job by Nick because they brought late pressure. They brought 4 initially, then they brought 2 linebackers. But you see Nick step into the throw. He knows he's going to get hit, but he's able to get the ball down the field to get the first down.
From the 24 now. Back to the ground game. Tell you what, LeBron Morse, I really like this running back for South Carolina State. He puts his nose right in there.
Well, I think I look at LeBron Morris as one of those dirty runners. He gets those dirty yards. He doesn't give you a whole lot of big pops, but he gets those 3, 4, 5 yard tough yards that the defenders know he's been there after he completes his run.
Dwayne Boyle's now digging in for South Florida, and looks like could be a free play for South Carolina State. They'll go up top with it. An open man. It's caught by Shaq Davis. And let's see if this stands. A flag down back at the line of scrimmage.
Offsides. Defense, number 96. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
It was ruled incomplete. The ball did hit the ground, so South Carolina State will still get 5 yards out of it.
And watch the offensive linemen jump. If they jump right when the defensive line jumps as a reaction, the defensive line is going to get that call. The defensive line always has time to get back on sides, but you have to make that catch. That was a big opportunity for Davis to get down the field and get positive yards. You've got to squeeze the ball and bring it into your body.
Tell you what, looked like a catch from that angle. Davis a little shaken up. And now 2nd and 3. Nick in trouble again. Going to lose some yardage here, about a yard. As Darius Slade, the Arizona State transfer. We've not talked enough about this young man who has been a huge surprise for South Florida in camp over the summer. Sometimes when he was at Arizona State, his physicality was questioned at times, kind of fell out of favor with the coaching staff. Boy, has he ever proven to be a huge addition here.
Well, he's stepped up and he's answered the challenge, and he's done a good job of showing that he can be a tough player at the point of attack.
Bulldogs need 5. 10-minute mark, 2nd quarter. Tyrese Nick scrambling, running for his life. Pressure from the backside. Sacked as Bentley Sanders causes the fumble, and the Bulls have got it. Kirk Livingstone able to make the recovery as the Bulls have their 2nd turnover of the game.
And that's a great job by the defensive line getting pressure up the field. He had nowhere to go with the football. And you see right there the defender coming from the back. He never knew or never saw that Bentley Sanders was coming from behind. And Bentley Sanders does a good job of knocking the ball out. And then the big fella, Kirk Livingstone, comes in. Now, Livingstone put on 12 pounds of muscle in the offseason, but he's able to get over there and cover up that football.
So the Bulls defense doing their job. 2nd turnover forced today. From the 23-yard line, it's McLeod. Jordan Cronkite, the ball carrier. Takes it inside the 20.
And a good open field tackle by number 10, Dwayne Nichols, because if he doesn't make that play, Cronkite is celebrating a touchdown right now. There was nobody left at the 2nd level for Cronkite to fake out. He was going to be able to waltz into the end zone.
3-yard gain, 2nd and 7. McLeod towards the sideline, incomplete. Looks like a little bit off on the timing for us. And you could tell, redshirt freshman getting his first start today. Obviously, some jitters. We found out about 10 minutes before kickoff that this young man was getting the nod. Imagine what is going through his mind here today.
Well, one thing you have to do when you have a young quarterback is you have to simplify the offense. Now, usually people will say with a veteran like Barnett, you can open up the offense, but this is a brand new offense for both players. But you've got more experience with Barnett. With McLeod, he hasn't seen as much as Barnett has seen. So Coach Bell is going to try and simplify this offense to give McLeod ways to be successful.
1 of 6 on 3rd down for the Bulls. They need 7 here. McLeod to throw. Over the middle's got his man. Touchdown. It's Mitch Wilcox, the big tight end.
And that was a great play by Wilcox because he faked to the outside, which turned the defender around, and when he broke down the seam, nobody was there to cover him up. The safety has to be watchful and get over to that side. He did not, and Wilcox was wide open, and a good job by McLeod knowing where to go with the football.
The big senior from Tarpon Springs with a touchdown for USF. Extra point is on from Kobe Weiss. 17-7. McLeod starting to feel more comfortable for USF at quarterback.
And you see McLeod, he's looking at the safety, and he knows where he's going to go with the football. A good job by McLeod, not eyeballing his receiver at all. He looked the safety off, and he was able to deliver a strike to Wilcox, who was wide open down the seam. And you see the young fella celebrating his second touchdown pass of the afternoon. He's done a pretty good job so far, Drew.
Talked about Jordan McLeod and meshing with his offensive coordinator, Kerwin Bell. You know, Coach Bell, his offense at Valdosta State last year averaged 52 points per game. He's not used to struggling offensively. That's why when we met with him yesterday for us, he just looked antsy. He looked like he was in the waiting room at the dentist office, just did not feel comfortable. And now to see this happen is really great. The floodgates opening.
Well, one thing he said is the offense is starting to slow down, or excuse me, the game slow down for the offense. They're starting to understand what they need to do. He wanted them to play loose, be consistent, and don't think so much. Just play the game. And you're seeing that at times. He needs to see it more consistently, but you're seeing it at times with this offense.
This is Juwan Moody, and he won't get back to the 20-yard line. So LaPointe makes the stop for South Florida. And Charlie Strong's team feeling a bit comfortable here at the moment. Up 14 with 9:15 left to go in the first half. It was a bit of a slow start for the Bulls. The big story of the day, the redshirt freshman Jordan McLeod getting the start in favor of Blake Barnett at quarterback.
Now, what you have to look for South Carolina State on offense is they're going to have to start to look to throw the ball a little bit more. But what that does is that puts the ball in Tyrese Nick's hands, which allows him to be that dual threat, because if he doesn't see what he likes, he can now scramble and get outside the pocket. He has that ability. So I think from South Florida, you'll see more man coverage, and they'll leave those linebackers home to make sure that Nick is not able to make plays with his feet.
First down, and Tyrese Nick looks for the hole, just takes it straight forward. Damaris Bellamy, the freshman, the tackle for the Bulls. South Carolina State now trailing by 14 for us. They had such a good start. What are you trying to do now here if you are the Bulldogs as we sort of approach halftime here?
You want to get first downs. You want to try and put some more points on the board, and you don't want to give South Florida any time to get the ball back on offense.
Tyrese Nick starting to use his legs a lot as Bellamy makes another tackle for the Bulls.
And right now, with the aggression that the South Florida defense is coming with, I think you look for screen plays. You look for misdirection. You use their speed and their aggression against them. I think trying to run right at them or trying to get to the edges, you're not going to be as successful.
Third down and 2. South Carolina State's got to get it to the 30-yard line. Bulls home crowd coming alive. Tyrese Nick under pressure, and it's incomplete. Pressure right in his face, but a late flag comes down in the secondary. And let's check this out.
Looks like a hold on the outside, which was not necessary on that play. You had pressure on the quarterback.
Holding. Defense. Number 7. 10 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Now watch the pressure in Tyrese Nick's face. He doesn't have time to even set his feet before he gets rid of the football. And at the bottom right of the screen, roster number 7, Mike Hampton, he grabs a hold of the offensive player. You did not have to do that.
Little penalties like that going to drive Coach Strong crazy.
Well, because you're getting the ball back if you don't hold on that play. You got everything you wanted. Pressure on the quarterback, making him release the ball prematurely. You did not have to grab on that play, Mike Hampton.
Instead, you give the Bulldogs another opportunity here. Tyrese Nick using his legs. He's got some speed, and he's upended as he gets it to midfield. Nick Roberts, the junior safety, with the tackle there.
But that's that dual threat ability. Once again, Nick is getting so much pressure on his face initially, he's pulling the ball back. You see the RPO right there. So he reads number 42, Darius Slade. When he sees him one-on-one and he sees Slade starting to fade to the inside, when Slade broke down, Nick is able to get around him and get those positive yards.
7th first down for South Carolina State. They've been effective moving the football here today. Only 3 points to show for, though, as LeBron Morris has another carry.
And there's those 30 yards again. 3 to 4 yard pops.
And they are really dirty.
And when he gets those yards, the defender feels him. I guarantee you, Andrew Mims felt that hit.
Picked up 3. South Carolina State could use a nice long drive here, give their defense a bit of a rest. That's what they're getting at the moment. Nick standing in, firing again, incomplete. Again, it was Hampton on the coverage. Dwayne Boyles, also the sophomore, making things happen for South Florida on that play.
And a great job by number 58, the left tackle, to get out and get a block, a hand on a delayed blitz by the defensive back, Mike Hampton. He was coming on a delayed blitz. Actually, not Mike Hampton on that play, KJ Sales. But he was able to get outside and get a hand on him to give Nick a little bit more time to try and get the ball down the field.
Another 3rd down for South Carolina State. They're 4 of 9 today. Nick over the middle again. Catch made. And how about this spike? Just refusing to go down. DeMontrez Burrows carrying 3 tacklers. What a play by number 1.
And not much pressure at all on that play. The offensive line did a good job of blocking. The back stayed in. And then a great job by Burrow to squeeze the football and fight through those defenders and get 2 or 3 extra yards. Defenders remember those things when they come up to make a play and make a hit. And Burrow is a big kid at 6'2", 200 pounds. He's almost like a fullback out there.
Looked like he was playing with a bunch of school kids that time in the yard, didn't he? Jumping on top of him. Option time, pitch it right, and this is Morris again. And he continues to surge forward before he's thrown out of bounds by Antonio Greer. Tell you what, you got to credit what this team out of the MEAC is doing right now.
Now, number 44 on this play, Antonio Greer, is right where he's supposed to be. You see him right here, but you see the ability of Morris not only to fight through the tackle, the arm tackle, but get to the outside and get 4 yards. He's such a hard individual to bring down.
Tremendous team chemistry for this South Carolina State offense. Coach Buddy Pough made note of that earlier this week. Nick trying to make something happen, and incomplete. Bentley Sanders was in the neighborhood, number 20 there. Former star at Tampa Catholic High School, just a few miles from here at Raymond James Stadium.
And that's a play where I thought Nick should have used his feet and got up the field. He had a lot of yards in front of him. I think he could have ran and got the first down on that play. You have to know where you are with the football, know what the down and distance is, and take what the defense gives you. They gave him the running lane on that play. They had everything covered up. He tried to squeeze it in and almost gave up a turnover.
3rd down and 6. Nick has time. He'll rifle it towards the end zone. Incomplete. 2 defenders were there. He's looking for Will Vereen, but he was well covered.
And Mekhi LaPointe, the free safety, did a good job of coming over. Nick eyeballed his receiver the entire play, and LaPointe was eyeballing Nick and knew exactly where to go to try and get the interception on that play.
And it looks like for South Carolina State's going to go for it here on 4th down and 6. Why not take a shot? What have you got to lose?
Well, they're right in that shady area of the field. You're inside the 30-yard line, so it would be a long field goal attempt. So why not try and go for it?
2 of 3 this year on 4th down. Put it in the hands of Tyrese Nick. Tries to deliver it over the middle. What a one-handed grab by DeMontrez Burrows. Are you kidding me?
In South Florida, rush 4, they dropped 7 back in the coverage. There was really nowhere to go with the football. Nick put it up where his receiver could try and make a play, and you see him reach back across his body up in the air, able to Odell Beckham the football, squeeze it and bring it down with one hand. What a great catch on the outside, excuse me, down the middle of the field by Burrows.
Going OBJ here at Raymond James Stadium. What a play for South Carolina State.
I expect to see that play on You Got Mossed. That's one of those You Got Mossed plays right there.
Back to the ground game up the middle. Trying to outstretch across the goal line, and he is right there. Just inches shy again. It's LeBron Morris.
And you see those 30 yards once again. Morris, he's bouncing off of would-be tacklers, powering himself. He reminds me of the kid Jacobs that came out of Alabama last year that went to the Oakland Raiders. There's no prettiness about it. It's just, I'm going to be a tough runner, no frills. I'm going to run over you. I'm going to get the yards that I need to get.
That play falls apart as Nick is taken down by big number 96, Kelvin Pinckney.
For South Florida, if they can hold them to a field goal attempt, I think it will be a win for the defense. For South Carolina State, I think they need to get a touchdown. You can't get this close. Get to the 1 yard line after the amazing catch by Burrows and not put 7 points on the board.
Bulldogs have been game throughout this first half, trying to hang with South Florida here on the road. Third down, near the goal line. They give it to Morris. He surges forward, the ball comes out. Bulls have got it. Devin Studstill falls on top of it, and it'll be a touchback for USF.
And the absolute worst possible thing that can happen, you have to know you've got to squeeze the football, Mr. Morris, when you're down inside the 5 yard line. That's what they're going to do, is strip at it. He's got the football. It doesn't look like he really ever had possession of the football. He was trying to make a football play and a move, but he didn't squeeze the football. You've got to bring it close to your body.
Golden opportunity lost by the Bulldogs. It'll be first down for South Florida when we come back.
And once again, you see the amazing catch by Burrow to reach back kind of Odell Beckhamish, and you get down inside the 1 yard line, and the guy that got you there, Morris, he can't squeeze the football, and South Florida is able to recover it and get the ball back to their offense.
LeBron Morris looks so good on that drive. Unfortunate to end that way. South Carolina State with Rod Perry able to get the sack. Rather the loss on the running back Cronkite, who is now shaken up for USF, and he is grabbing his right knee.
Not what you want to see.
Oof.
Let's see if we can see what happened on this play. Number 74 gets beat across the face. He actually throws the defender into the quarterback, and you see his knee twist on that play.
Trainers tending to Cronkite, and obviously a scary situation here for South Florida football. The way he went down, and now he will be helped up quickly. Wow, that looked to have the makings, as you see Sean King, running backs coach for USF. A scary moment. I mean, that had all the makings of being out for the season, some of the worst, and you hate to see that in a guy in his senior year.
Well, the one thing you look for, you don't want to see any shifting in the knee. And when Cronkite went down, the way he was looking like he was in a little bit of anguish with that knee, you're glad to see him be able to get up and walk off the field.
So a good sign for the Bulls after a loss of 4, now 2nd and 14 for McLeod and South Florida. McLeod to throw over the middle. Ball is caught, and Kelly Joyner, chance to make something happen. He's got a first down at the 32-yard line.
And that's what you want to do if you're McLeod. Take what the defense gives you. A great pocket. The tackles did a good job on the outside. He's able to step up in the pocket, set his feet, and throw the ball to where Joyner can get the ball and get up the field and get positive yards.
Looked pretty good as Kelly Joyner, freshman out of Groveland. Flared out left. Kevin Perlett gets his hands on it. Seeing some of the young talent that South Florida has here. Perlett is a senior. Game like this, you're going to get some extra opportunities out of Miramar, where all the speed comes from here in the Sunshine State. Tripped up that time as B.J. Davis, the freshman, makes another play. I'll tell you what, he has got some talent. There's several players on this South Carolina side, Pough. You just watch play, you're like, wow. We saw Burrows made the big one-handed catch. They've got him across the D-line and in the secondary as well. McLeod, right side, Johnny Ford. Doing what he does best. They'll move the chains again. Bulls trying to get points here before the half.
And a great job by the offensive line and the backs to pick up the blitz on that play to allow McLeod to go down the field with the football.
McLeod fakes the handoff. Stands in. The hole opens up. Slides to midfield.
And what South Carolina State did on that play, they had 3 down linemen that walked their linebacker up in the gap. At the snap of the football, he took 1 step inside to try and fake as though he was bringing the blitz. What they're trying to do is confuse McLeod. McLeod did a good job of settling back and watching and seeing that they were in zone coverage, and he took what the defense gave him. You can't try to force it. They're going to play these games with McLeod being a young quarterback to try and confuse him.
Jordan McLeod. Pretty decent first half of work. Here's the starting quarterback for South Florida. Staring into a 2nd and 9. Looking downfield. Lets it go, and he's got his man for a first down. Xavier Weaver tiptoeing that sideline. Nice play.
And a great job by McLeod staying tall in the pocket. They faked the blitz on the inside and brought the outside blitz. McLeod knows he's going to get hit, but he stays steady in the pocket. You see the delayed blitz coming on the inside, and he's able to deliver a strike down the field to his receiver, Weaver.
McLeod again. That same spot, a little shorter this time to Weaver. Let me ask you this, Forrest. When you played the days of Charlie Ward, you guys lived with that hurry-up offense. As an offensive lineman, how do you like running it, and how is it different from huddling up here the way South Florida's running things?
Well, you like it because you know what's going to happen. You're tired, but you know the defense is more tired than you are because they're trying to figure out what you're doing, where you're going, and you know eventually you're going to have that big play to pop. You just got to stay with it.
McLeod trying to stay with it. Flag comes down in the backfield. He'll unload it. And incomplete. Stanley Clerval was the intended target. And again, we'll check the flag back at the 40.
Holding. Offense. Number 77. 10 yards from the previous spot. Still 2nd down.
Tougher to stay disciplined when you are playing hurry-up football, though.
Well, you've got to be in shape. You see the hole right here. You can't have your hands outside of the shoulder pads. You've got to keep them inside the breastplate. Anytime you see the shoulder pad go up or you see the jersey get up, the officials are going to make that call. It's very easy. You've got to keep those hands inside.
Now a 2nd and 15 after the damage. 4 wideouts for McLeod. He'll rifle it downfield. Open man and caught. Inside the 10-yard line, Eddie McDoom. That was delivered perfectly.
And B.J. Davis is right there where he needs to be. I thought he jumped prematurely on that play. If he keeps running, I think he may be able to make a better play on the football, but a good job by McLeod putting air under the football to allow his receiver to run under it.
I think South Florida's found something here in the redshirt freshman. Here's one more look.
You see McLeod, he knows where he wants to go with the football, but watch the premature jump. I think if he would have kept running and jumped just a tad second later, he may have been able to make a play on the football. But a good job by McLeod getting air up under the football, allowing his receiver to run under the ball, and a great job by McDoom squeezing the football, making sure he had reception before he went out of bounds.
Altogether, what you've seen from McLeod and the Bulls offense, it's been pretty good. Struggled a little bit at times, but we're seeing the makings of what could be a new era. Do you like what you're seeing?
I think it's what I expected. You've got a young guy, he's got his first start at home, really at home. Because he's from Tampa, and it's a home game. And it's a game that they have to win. This is a must-win for them. So I think so far, so good.
11 of 20. Completion percentage will likely come up over time. Couple touchdown passes, though. Look pretty good on the deep ball so far. McLeod looking left. Wants the end zone again. Threw it to the corner. And a little bit too far. Was looking for McDoom again. B.J. Davis out there once more for South Carolina State.
And that's one of those throws that I think as he continues to play more, he'll get better at. He should have put a little more zip on that football. There was nothing over the top with that ball. I think if he throws it with zip, the receiver is able to make a play on it.
Comes from such an athletic family. Father Ray, high school superstar at Leto High School nearby. Older brother Ray playing for the Carolina Panthers, and now Jordan paving his own way to the end zone. Touchdown.
And that's one of those spark plays that the coaching staff talks about. His ability to have the vision to realize everything was covered up. They stunted on the left side, and he was able to get through a wide open seam and basically walk into the end zone.
Kobe Weiss to make it a 24-3 game. It's a new era for South Florida football. The Jordan McLeod era is here.
Well, she's number 64 right in the middle of your screen. Pick up the stunt, coming down hard on the inside. And watch McLeod. You see 91 right there in his face, but he's able to step back. He wants to go somewhere with the football, but there was a linebacker underneath. So that was a great read by McLeod, because if he releases the football, number 46, Cornelius Walker, maybe gets the interception, but you see him fake out number 91, step back to the inside. A great job understanding. Don't try and force it. Take what the defense gives you, and when Demetrius Harris picks up that stunt, it gives him the lane to get to the end zone.
Well, we asked South Florida coaches about the personality of Jordan McLeod. They said, hey, this is a very confident young man. You're seeing that confidence here in this first half. Coach Strong says he's got what it takes.
And think about how tough of a decision it was for Coach Strong to change quarterbacks. You've got a game where you feel very confident you should win. So, you know, for Barnett, it has to be tough to be on the sideline right now and see this, especially in his senior year.
Without question. So South Carolina State will have it at the 25-yard line. 29 seconds left to play in the first half. Drew Felios, Forrest Connolly. Great to have you with us tonight on ESPN Plus. Stay tuned, a busy halftime coming up. Special feature, Manny Diaz, Miami head coach, one of our former students, classmates at Florida State. His journey into coaching. Also have our Dr. Pepper fan moment of the game. We'll analyze the first half as well. Lots coming up for you from Tampa. Tyrese Nick takes a knee. The clock's not running at the moment. We'll finally start it up right now, and looks like both teams will just head to the locker room. So a slow start for South Florida, but Jordan McLeod and the Bulls offense eventually kicking it into high gear. And they've got a 3-touchdown lead at halftime. The redshirt freshman getting the news just before kickoff that he would be the starting quarterback. His teammates responding. And the best offensive production for the Bulls so far this year by far. Halftime in Tampa. Raymond James Stadium the site. Bulls on the verge of their first win of 2019. Welcome back to Tampa, where priority one for South Florida, leading 24-3, was to get the running game going. In the first half against South Carolina State, it had struggled leading into tonight and the two games against Wisconsin and Georgia Tech. 2.2 per rush coming in. But tonight so far, 4.3, and that rushing touchdown by Jordan McLeod. A 3-touchdown lead. We get you ready for the second half when we come back. Well, it's time to take a look at today's fan moment. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper. 2 years after USF first opened in 1960, students selected the Golden Bremen as their official mascot. The reason, since Florida was a cattle-raising state like Texas, USF needed a mascot comparable to the Texas Longhorns mascot. By the late 1980s, the mascot evolved into the Bulls. Then Rocky the Bull first appeared in 1974. He was redesigned in 1986, and today's Rocky was unveiled in 2003. 24-3, your score. 3-touchdown lead for the Bulls over South Carolina State. We're thrilled you're here. Drew Felios, Forrest Conley, the former Florida State Seminole. South Carolina State trying to do their best to hold up against this South Florida team, fired up to get their first win in 2019. We saw and we heard from Coach Strong yesterday, did not seem too phased at the 0-2 start. Seemed pretty confident that the best was still ahead.
Well, he seemed confident, but what was more official to me is the confidence that the South Carolina State coaching staff had in their defensive line to get pressure, and we saw that very early in this ball game. They were able to get pressure on the young quarterback McLeod and keep him very uncomfortable. Now the offense settled in, they got that running game going, and I think that allowed McLeod to get his passing game going.
Schrader's kickoff taken by Moody, and South Carolina State will start with the football here in this third quarter. Numbers that really stood out: Jordan McLeod for the Bulls, 144 yards passing, also got 45 yards rushing, so 189 total yards on the evening. Tyrese Nick, on the other hand, 93 yards passing for the Bulldogs as he trots back on the field to lead South Carolina State. His top rusher is Morris with 33 yards.
And I think turnovers have been the big key in this ball game. South Florida has forced 3 turnovers. They've got 17 points off of those turnovers. That's the difference in this ball game.
First down, South Carolina State. And a little run pass option here. Sets up Tyrese Nick. And a nice gainer out to the 35-yard line for a first down.
And I think for South Carolina State to be successful in this ball game, they've got to try and establish a rushing attack. Only 52 yards in the first half.
Tyrese Nick threw for over 200 yards against Wofford a couple weeks back. Now he'll roll right and rifle this one to the 45-yard line. Demontrez Burrows, who has been impressive tonight, makes another catch. That's his 4th catch here this evening.
And Burrow is a big kid. He reminds me of Anquan Bolden when you look at his size out there. He's got a really big catch radius. You see his ability to contort his body and twist around and make one-handed catches.
Tyrese Nick fakes it, and he'll be taken down. And that's number 8 making the play, Devin Studstill. Studstill, another transfer for South Florida. He comes from Notre Dame, so several transfers this season for the Bulls. And we talk about guys like Jason Pierre-Paul in the past, USF has done well with transfers for sure. Second down for Nick. Overshot his man that time, incomplete. You know, it's interesting, South Carolina State with Tyrese Nick at quarterback, they did not play him last week at that position for us. Instead, they started the redshirt freshman, Corey Fields. It's something that Coach Pough said, hey, we want to reward and give all our kids a chance to play. I thought it was very interesting you would sit your starter on a week like that.
Well, Coach Pough said that he had a great fall camp and actually outplayed Nick during the fall camp. And they wanted to give him a shot in the game that they felt like they could easily win.
Third down. Lofts this one. Sideline. Caught. Inside the 25, and that's hauled down by Shaq Davis.
And the safety has to get over. Devin Studstill, number 8, has to get over there and help out on that play. The cornerback never turned around to locate the football. He tried to play through the receiver. A good job by the receiver playing that football, getting it close to his body. And Shaq Davis, those are those big plays that we talked about opening the ball game, his ability.
LeBron Moore spinning inside the 20. Yeah, they think Shaq Davis, number 12, is the real deal. at South Carolina State. Say he runs so well, got tremendous ball skills, so tough, got the speed to separate as well.
And I think that's what makes him different. He's 6'5" and has speed. Usually your speed receivers are your smaller 6'1", 6'2" receivers, but at 6'5", he gives you speed and the ability to high point balls.
2nd and 7 after the 3-yard gain. Run the option. Nick trying to get this third quarter off to the good start. Greg Reeves makes the stop that time. Blake Green as well.
And these are some of the problem areas for South Carolina State this afternoon when they get inside the red zone. The defense tightens up. There's not as much field to cover, so they're going to bring a blitz package. They're going to see if Nick can read that blitz package, and they're going to sit back and try and pick him off, read his eyes.
Roll out this time. Nick fires. It's intercepted. Nick Roberts has it. Roberts finally taken down by DePrince Haynes. The 3rd turnover of the night caused by this Bulls defense.
And once again, when you bring pressure, you force the quarterback to get rid of the football before he wants to. Nick tries to squeeze it in. See right there, Nick, you're trying to squeeze the ball in. They had 7 back in coverage, so they're sitting back and they're watching Nick's eyes. When you play zone coverage, you have your eyes on the quarterback. Look at this, everybody's sitting back. They're in zone coverage, they're sitting back. You see they're watching Nick's eyes, and he steps right in front of the receiver. That's the fear that you have when you have such a short field. There's not a lot to cover, so they're keeping their eyes on the quarterback, and Nick eyeballed his receiver.
And what a return from this young man. Nick Roberts, and now Johnny Ford getting busy. He's going to score.
And you talk about a 2-play demoralization. Right now you're inside the red zone, you give up a big pick, and then right here, untouched to the end zone by Johnny Ford, the speed back, the shifty back for USF.
Coach Strong says the more number 20 gets his hands on the football, the more he is going to make things happen. Johnny Ford delivering for South Florida. Extra point up and good. 2nd touchdown of the night for Johnny Ford. South Florida extending their lead to 31-3. Second touchdown of the night for Johnny Ford. 31-3. South Florida running away with it. 12:03 here in the third quarter. Spencer Schrader to kick it off. Juwan Moody back to receive for South Carolina State. Moody from the 9. Fair catch it from there. Want to tell you about Week 2 Monday Night Football. Baker Mayfield, OBJ and the Browns battling Le'Veon Bell and the New York Jets. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6 p.m. Sam Darnold not going to be a part of that one with mononucleosis. The Jets again just off to a disastrous start.
Well, they've got Le'Veon Bell, so let's see if he can be the bell cow for that team. You've got Cleveland that's trying to prove something after they get blown out at home with all the expectations. So it can turn out to be a very interesting ball game.
Nick Roberts, big interception on the last series for the Bulls defense. And now Datron James will start things off for South Carolina State. James, a north-south hard-nosed runner, journeyman at running back. And he has been really, really steady. Corey Fields is the new quarterback. So the redshirt freshman out of Hollywood, South Carolina, has his number called here. In this third quarter, we talked about how Fields did see a lot of action last week. Got the start, had a tremendous fall camp as well. Here he is. And he steps into this throw. This one's incomplete, looking for Shaq Davis over the middle.
And right now, all South Florida's doing, they're rushing forward. They're sitting 7 back in the coverage. They're keeping an eye on the quarterback. So the quarterback has to be very careful. Fields is more of a pocket passer. He's not that dual threat that you get with Nick. So they're going to sit back, and they're going to make Fields beat them with his arm.
6 feet tall, just under 190 pounds. 172 yards on the season throwing it. And now a 3rd and 4. Nice throw over the middle and able to connect to Datron James, who showed some nice hands to move the chains.
And a good job by Fields showing his escapability to break outside of the pocket, get away from the defender oncoming, and get the ball down the field to a receiver, Datron James, to get the first down. You want to extend drives right now.
Corey Fields, described by the coaching staff at South Carolina State as the most mature player on the entire team. James, another run as he takes it near the 40-yard line. So that's a high compliment for us.
Especially for a freshman.
Exactly. Redshirt freshman. He has earned the trust of this coaching staff. Buddy Pugh's been around the game a long time. Second down and 8. Fields looking right. Has his man. Oh, had it back shouldered. Shaq Davis tried to turn around, in and out of his hands, incomplete. We talked about Coach Pough also and what he's meant to this South Carolina State program. He's an alum there. He's had an outstanding coaching run. And in fact, he and Charlie Strong were once both assistants under Lou Holtz at the University of South Carolina, 1999 to 2002.
As well as defensive coordinator Brian Jean Mary. He was on that staff as well.
There you go. Small world, the coaching world. 3rd and 8. Fields with plenty of time. He'll step into this throw and got a receiver inside the 40. So that ball taken in. That is number 29 with his first catch. That's Demetrius DuBose, the redshirt freshman.
And Patrick Macon is back in the ball game after the first half suspension, and he almost is able to jump up and get the interception. The ball is right over his fingertips. A good job by Fields, putting just enough air under the ball to get it over the linebacker.
37-yard line now and a first down. Keep this one on the ground. More hard running. Datron James getting a lot of looks here for South Carolina State. Chemistry on this team is outstanding. The offensive line led by number 50, the center, Michael Terry, creating a lot of those holes. And big number 73 we've talked about doing work on that right side, big Alex Taylor. Fake it, and Fields now under heavy pressure, trying to get outside, and he tosses incomplete. But we've watched Taylor work tonight for us. This guy, number 73, is such an interesting story. A basketball star, left the game of football, now coming back to South Carolina State, transferred from Appalachian State, says I want to play, and now has a chance at an NFL career.
He has a huge ceiling. I said go gadget arms earlier because he has those long arms that NFL scouts are looking for to get good separation. He does a good job with his punch. As he continues to play and learn the game, he'll learn how to sit more in his hips. He reminds me of a guy I played with at Florida State, Trey Thomas. A real tall guy, has long arms, and very strong when he extends.
Quick slant, DuBose has it at the 16-yard line. So LaPointe makes the stop.
And you see him up top, good kick step. He just has to learn to power step on the inside. But he's so strong and those arms are so long. Once he extends those arms and leans on you, there's nothing you can do as a defender but fall down. As he continues to mature as a player, he'll get better at using that inside power step.
Fields dumps it outside. and trying to turn it upfield is big number 48. He is a low Yancey Washington with it. Did you say go-go gadget arms? I haven't heard that in about 38 years.
Those arms that just seem to get longer and longer and longer. He's such a long kid, and you see the ability, and it's raw right now. So when he gets with an NFL team where all he does is football as opposed to school and football, he's just going to get better. That's why I think his ceiling is so high.
Reaching out, ball comes out once again near the goal line. And let's see, they're going to mark it at about the 1 foot line for South Carolina State.
Let's see if the ball starts to move. It looks like he's down. I think that may be a touchdown. Because his knee wasn't down. He was on the defender, and he reached, and I thought the ball crossed the goal line before anything went down because he put his hand down, not his elbow and not his forearm.
Nonetheless, first and goal for the Bulldogs. I think they may take another look at this one.
Really on the field of the runner down, short of the goal line. It's under further review.
The one thing the officials are going to look for is his forearm to see if his forearm was down. They're going to look to see if his knee was down. I think his knee is on top of the defender and his forearm is up, and he puts his hand down and the ball is reached over the goal line. Now the knee is not down. I think that's a touchdown. Because he's on top of a defender, so his knee isn't down and his forearm isn't down and the ball is over the goal line.
First time we've had to go to replay here tonight. Herbert Staten is our replay official. And this one's certainly going to get some attention, and upon further review there, it looked like he was still moving forward. That knee was still up, and that ball had certainly broken the plane.
And one thing fans have to realize, Coach Pough's team is not going to stop playing. They're going to play for 4 quarters. They're going to use this as an opportunity to get better. Coaching staffs always look at film when you're not winning to see how guys respond.
Close.
I think it's definitive enough evidence to overturn this and make this a touchdown.
This is probably going to tell it all right here.
His knee is on the defender. It's not down. He's still reaching. Yeah, I think that's a touchdown.
Ooh. Right there. That's a coin flip.
I say touchdown.
I'm not going to commit either way because I'm not very good at these reviews. Coach Pough, next week for South Carolina State, they'll head to Delaware State before hosting Florida A&M and Morgan State. So you have some balanced optimism coming into a game like this. You want to take it as an opportunity to get better, maybe have a chance to shock everybody and take the upset. At the end of the day, you got to worry about that MEAC schedule, and a lot of business ahead for South Carolina State to tend to, but still definitely not out of this football game just yet. Let's get the call.
After further review, the ball in the player's possession broke the plane of the goal line before it came loose. Therefore, it's a touchdown.
Forster, 1 for 1.
To 8-18. 8-18.
That was a pretty easy one. I thought our camera guys did a great job of giving us all the angles that we needed to try to determine was that a touchdown or not. And he did a good job of staying on top of the defender, keeping his knee up in the air, and not putting his forearm down before the ball crossed the plane.
Dylan Bredesen on for the extra point, and this one's no good. So 31-9, extra point denied. South Florida still in the driver's seat. Touchdown scored by Datron James and South Carolina State. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. South Florida Bulls, South Carolina State Bulldogs, 31-9 is your score. Drew Felios alongside Forrest Connolly. 8:18 left to play here in the third quarter. South Carolina State with their first touchdown of the evening on a Datron James rush. Ruled a touchdown upon further review. South Florida to get the ball back here. Taken at the 5-yard line. Offensive line for South Florida certainly stepped up tonight. They haven't played great. They've played much better.
Atterbury does a good job of fighting the three technique that beat him across the face and stayed on him for the quarterback to step into that throw. And then on the next play, the center does a good job of identifying the mic, allowing the offensive line to make their calls, their pre-snap calls, and then a good pocket right here from McLeod to deliver a ball down the seam for the pass. And then right here, number 78, a good job pulling around, giving Ford an untouched route to the end zone.
Numbers tonight, 105 yards rushing. Big improvement, still not where they want to be, but they'll certainly take it. Up to the 25. Seeing this Kerwin Bell offense and the players absorbing it, it takes some time. You can't just flick that switch. How long does it take for us for an offense to fully sink into all these plays?
Well, it's all about reps. Repetitions, repetition, repetition. But you need live repetition. You need repetition against a foreign opponent, not your players in practice. You need it against an opponent that's really trying to stop you.
McLeod's pass hauled in. That's a nice tackle, though. Jalen Barr, the safety, comes up and lowers the boom on Kelly Joyner Jr. South Carolina State trying to scrap their way back in this. Certainly not backing down. And if you're South Florida, you cannot afford to be complacent here. Mark it at the 22. Plenty of time to throw for McLeod. Room to step up. Sees the first down marker and slides down at the 34. About a yard in front of it. They'll move the sticks.
And a good job by number 10, Kelly Joyner, getting in the way of the defender, allowing McLeod to get those extra 2 to 3 yards to get the first down. You see McLeod, they're rushing for, they've got 7 back in his zone coverage. McLeod doesn't see anything he likes, so he steps up into the pocket. And watch number 10 right there, just getting away enough to allow McLeod to get those extra 2 to 3 yards to get the first down.
Quick throw this time. That left sideline, the target. And Terrence Horn with blazing speed. This young man was a track and field star in high school, a state champion in the 100 meter at Miramar High last year. Hand this one off and pick up about 3. So a third down coming up. Kelly Joyner Jr. on the carry.
And a good job by Paul McIver, number 76, just to trip him up because there was nothing at the second level.
Oh, they are running fast right now. McLeod, little tripped up though that time, got stuck behind Joyner Jr. And the South Carolina State defense will hold.
And these are some of the things that can happen when you're running a fast-paced offense. A lot of times, offensive linemen aren't able to get their pre-snap reads together. So you have to be very careful as a quarterback, and that's some of the things that McLeod will learn as well. When the defensive line is shifting and doing a lot of pre-snap movement, you want to still allow your offensive linemen to get their reads prior to the snap.
Well, back to receive, Demontrez Burrows. Made some great plays here tonight. Trying to make another one here. He's a load to bring down. Takes 4 South Florida Bull players to do the trick.
NFL Prime Time is back on Sunday nights, airing exclusively on ESPN Plus at 7:30 p.m. Eastern all season long.
Boomer and TJ back, all is right with the world. 31-9 here in Tampa. South Florida, South Carolina State. Boy, Tom Jackson, what a legend in broadcasting he is. Watching him so many times over the years for us. So excited to see him on ESPN Plus.
Absolutely, can't wait, in the words of Bart Scott.
Bulldogs have it back. Look at the total yard story in the second half. Doing a good job here. Corey Fields wants to air one out. Incomplete. Just a little too far for Shaq Davis, but he has got the arm strength to make it happen.
In a strong safety, Nick Roberts cannot allow a receiver to get behind you. You're playing one high safety. You've got to stay back. You see number 2 right there at the bottom of your screen. He's got to be in the back pedal right now. He's turning around and he's in a pursuit. You have to be in the back pedal. You cannot allow anything behind you when you're that one high safety.
Shaq Davis cramping up at the moment. He has given everything and so much more here tonight. In motion is Thomas on 2nd down and 10. Fields under pressure again, and this one's incomplete. Was waiting, set up the screen, but just had no chance.
And as an offensive lineman on the screen pass, you want to get a little bit of the defensive lineman because you want to sell it. But if you don't touch him, you're giving them free rein to the quarterback. He doesn't have time to set his feet and get the ball over to the receiver. He was throwing off of his back foot. The offensive lineman, get a hand on the defender. Just slow him down a bit. You want them to come up the field, but you've got to sell it a little bit.
Corey Fields in relief of Tyrese Nick, a redshirt freshman, trying to bring South Carolina State back here in Tampa. Quick throw and incomplete. Just not enough on it. Traquan DuBose, the intended receiver, and the Bulldogs will have to punt.
And Fields just doesn't have enough time. They're bringing in an extra blitzer, and the offensive line isn't doing a good job of picking him up, so Fields is having to get rid of the ball prematurely.
KJ Sales back to receive for South Florida. And see Cliff Benjamin kicking it away for South Carolina State. Taken from the 42. Sales with an opening. Sales inside the 30. Takes a big shot. Wow. That was a hefty return, but he certainly paid for it. As Terry Carson III, only a freshman at 250 pounds, comes out of absolutely nowhere. Let's take a look at some scores, if I can calm you down for us after that last play. Washington State over Houston today. Cincinnati 35-13 over Miami of Ohio. Maryland falls to Temple. How about that?
Big win for Temple, because Maryland was playing some great football up to this point.
UCF victorious over Stanford. Tulsa battled Oklahoma State, but eventually falls by 19. Navy over East Carolina.
And I tell you what, UCF winning that game against Stanford, they're getting enough Power 5 wins where if they go undefeated this year, they need to get more than just serious consideration for the playoffs. That is a team, if they go undefeated, I think that they should be in the playoffs.
We're starting to build that reputation. They keep doing this year in and year out. You cannot continue to deny them.
They're the team that Boise used to be, the team that nobody wants to play.
Jordan McLeod has South Florida's offense now at the 14-yard line. You know, Forrest, we get a chance to watch a lot of football around the country, you and I, and certain plays, it's just, sometimes you just sit back, you watch these kids perform, and it's just awesome. And that one hit on special teams that we were able to witness a few plays ago was one of those. You're just like,
well, it's one of those, he's watching it, developing it. That's enough of that.
Wow.
And he went and shut it down.
And taken down in the backfield this time. South Carolina. Let's take one more. This just comes out of nowhere.
Well, you got to love it. Watch Terry Carson. Boom! That's exactly what you want to do when a guy's breaking open and you see, you know, the offensive player, he doesn't know how to react. Like, where did that just come from?
There's a guy who's not on one scouting report.
It's the people's elbow. That's what you call it. That's one of those people's elbow types of plays.
That was a flying body press, Roman Reigns style. From the 17. This is McLeod. Tucks it in again and tripped up this time. Done that a lot tonight. Bulldogs anticipating it, though, that time as 91 Rod Perry got him by the shoestring.
And we've seen some really good players from this South Carolina State ball club. Although, you know, the defense has not done a good job holding them down when they've gotten inside the red zone, I like what I've seen offensively from this ball club. And to me, Demontrez Burrows, people need to pay attention to this young man. He has made some excellent catches for South Carolina State.
35-yard attempt now. And this kick is through. So Schrader able to get on the board for South Florida, and it's 34-9. Well, we ask you tonight to help people affected by Hurricane Dorian. Devastated so many. Your donation to the Red Cross will support preparation, response, and recovery efforts in the United States and, of course, in the Bahamas. Go to www.redcross.org/ESPN or call 1-800-RED-CROSS to donate now. The rebuilding effort continues in the Bahamas. South Florida Bulls, definitely a big sigh of relief. You know, this program, they took a big thumping a couple weeks ago when Wisconsin came in here. So much anticipation. The new offensive coordinator, Kerwin Bell, and how things would be different after the slow finish last year and those 6 straight losses. Wisconsin really put it to South Florida, but South Florida was just not ready for that type of competition. Now I think they're going to really start to ascend.
Well, one thing I think that's skewed is the quarterback play. When you look at that Wisconsin ball game, they fell behind so far, so early, they had to just go to a passing game, which did not allow for the offensive lineman to have a fair opportunity. I think when you're playing against Wisconsin and they know you've got to pass, they're going to pin their ears back and come at you. So I thought those numbers were pretty skewed. When we talked to the coaching staff, they talked about that game, but then also Coach Bell talked about wanting to see something better in the Georgia Tech game and thinking they would get their rushing attack going, which they were not able to. They've got it going a little bit here, not probably as much as he would have liked to, but they're facing a really tough defensive line, a defensive line that I think is going to give every MEAC team problems moving forward as they get into conference play.
Coach Bell again having words with McLeod, expecting excellence. You can just sense
everything is a teaching moment right now for McLeod.
It really is. South Carolina State try and run the football. Ball comes out again, and another turnover forced by the Bulls.
KJ Sales was reaching and tugging the entire time for that football. The back has to understand you've got to squeeze the football. KJ Sales was not trying to make the tackle on that play. He was trying to rip the football the entire time. Watch him, see him right there. He's ripping the whole time. That's all he's trying to do is pull the ball loose. And he's able to at the end of that run.
Turnovers have really been the story tonight. South Carolina has put it on the ground 4 times. How about KJ Sales? The job that he is doing. This young man works every day with a big smile on his face and just comes up and destroys whoever has the football on the other side. 5th turnover for South Carolina State, with the fumbles and the interceptions included. Johnny Ford, shifty as ever, to the 10.
And I would not be shocked if they ran the ball every play, because this is an opportunity to test your offensive line in the red zone.
Johnny Ford, sophomore out of Miami. Touchdown catch last week late in that Georgia Tech game. He has had a whale of a game here tonight. McLeod fakes it to him, now throws it to the outside. It's Wilcox time.
And all they did was go with the same formation. You've got Wilcox as the H-back on the outside. Nobody goes with him. The linebackers are reacting to the ball fake, and he's easily getting to the end zone on the pass. A good job by McLeod to get the ball out there and allow Wilcox to get north and south and get to the end zone for the easy score.
Schrader's extra point is good. Bulls running away with it, 41-9. Jordan McLeod entrenching himself as the new starting quarterback here at South Florida. Well, tonight after Texas Tech, Arizona on ESPN, we'll have Sports Center with Stan and Neil. The latest on Antonio Brown's status for tomorrow's game against the Dolphins, plus which ranked college football teams were upset today. And Tyson Fury's heavyweight title is on the line against Otto Verleen. Sports Center after college football on ESPN and the ESPN app. Boy, that Antonio Brown saga, that thing just will not stop. Just continues to produce questions. Mitch Wilcox for South Florida. Couple touchdowns for him tonight.
And Mitch Wilcox is a player that I think we will see playing on Sundays very soon. This young man has all the intangibles, 6'5", 245 pounds. He's got the speed to get to the end zone, the speed to get down the field. He has a 54-yard reception this season. He can block at the point of attack. Those are all the little intangibles that you look for when you're talking about a tight end in today's game. They have to be able to block, but also get down the field and get down the seam and make the tough catch.
Been through so much with this South Florida program under Willie Taggart and Charlie Strong at a Tarpon Springs. You ever been to Tarpon Springs, Forrest? I got to take you up there next time you come to town. And obviously, produced some great football players up there in the past. Bulldogs on the ground. This is going to pick up just a couple. Seeing some second and third teamers in the game right now. Second and 9. 25-yard line. Nice throw over the middle. And again, it's Burrows. Stiff arm. Oh, and a collision out there on that sideline. Tell you what, when you are standing there and those guys are coming at you, they come so quickly.
Well, you got to keep your head on the swivel.
Oh.
And Burrows, once again, he doesn't go down. He's such a tough individual. A good job by Fields delivering the ball down the field. Watch Burrows. He doesn't go down. Everybody goes down for South Carolina State except Burrows.
Coming up on a minute here in the third quarter. See some Bulldogs low on the depth chart. Trayvon Thomas getting work at running back. Trayvon is out of Darlington, South Carolina. Redshirt junior.
And for young players, Greg Reeves, number 4, is right there to make the tackle, the defensive end. But you can't go in there with your head down. You've got to break down to make that tackle.
Greg Reeves digging in for South Florida. And now a 2nd and 8. Corey Fields sets his feet, fires a little bit high that time.
And Fields had time on that play. He did not have to rush that throw. Take a little bit off of it. But when you've been pressured throughout the afternoon since he's been in the ball game, you tend to want to get rid of the football prematurely.
How important is playing in a game like this, even if your team has no chance to win, still putting things on tape for the future?
Well, this is live competition. Live competition is always good, win or lose, for your ball club as you continue to develop as an offense.
Right side, again in traffic and picked off once again. South Florida with Vincent Davis coming up with the interception.
And that's 6 turnovers so far that they've created. And watch Davis. He just sits under the receiver. He plays this perfect. He knows he has help over the top with Bentley Sanders bracketing the receiver so he can play underneath. And he plays underneath the receiver right there. Does a good job of jumping that route and getting in front of the football.
We talked about South Florida not having a turnover chain. Forrest, they need something here tonight. We need to invent something because they have been a turnover producing machine.
That's their job to get turnovers on defense. Now they've got 9. They're at that 3 per game that they want it to be.
McLeod for the home run, incomplete. Oh, great attempt that time for the outstretched Jaquez Evans. Incomplete. I mean, if you were a lineman, would you get a trophy for pancake blocks back in the day? No, you get a high five, right? That's it.
No, you get a tomahawk. Look at me, I can't even think about it right now. A tomahawk on your helmet, that's it.
Short run.
But
and it'll be 3rd down for the Bulls.
When we talked to Coach Strong about that, he talked about the fact that it's old school football and he doesn't like all those extras.
Old school football here tonight. South Florida silencing the critics. Another turnover produced here for the Bulls. (41-9), South Florida over South Carolina State. This is what we were doing during the break, Fo. A little swag surfing. It's a tradition here for the Bulls going into every 4th quarter. From the 45. Jordan McLeod, starting quarterback tonight for the Bulls. Down the middle. Caught! Johnny Ford again. Tipped and tipped once again. He was finally able to reel it in.
And it all starts with the left tackle, number 73, Donovan Jennings. He does a good job. He's beat at the point but he gets and pushes the defender down the field past the quarterback, allowing McLeod to step into that throw. And you see the fingertip catch by Johnny Ford, bobbling it, but getting possession of the football before he's pushed out of bounds.
He's got some hands. Trips to the left now as USF operates inside the 5. McLeod, little fake and takes it to the outside for the easy score.
And now it's just fun right now. You see McLeod with the ball fake. Everyone crashes inside. He does a good job of reading number 45, Lane Jones, who crashes down the outside linebacker, and he's able to walk into the end zone.
You watch him on some of those runs, visions of Quentin Flowers, what he meant to this Bulls program. Extra point, perfect tonight for South Florida. Jordan McLeod, his coming out party, hooking up with Johnny Ford, setting up another touchdown for USF. You're looking at the difference in this football game. Really 2 of the differences. Number 1, that guy right there, Jordan McLeod, and his coming out party tonight for South Florida, being named the starter. And then the other, the turnovers.
Well, McLeod is settled in. He's found his rhythm, and the defense has done a great job. The coaching staff talked about not just winning, but how they wanted to win. They wanted to get into a rhythm offensively and defensively. And you've seen that from McLeod offensively, throwing the ball down the field, getting that vertical passing game going, making good decisions on the RPO reads. And defensively, they've stripped the football. They've intercepted the football. They've got back on task with what they want to do to get those 3 turnovers per game. But you see the fumble right here. The back never had control of the football, but they were Johnny on the spot. And they're right here coming from behind, stripping the quarterback. A good job by the defender. Goal line. I think this was the biggest play of the game defensively, stopping them, and then stepping in front of the pass right here, getting the interception by Nick Roberts, and then the strip right there by KJ Sales, pulling the ball away, and then once again a defender stepping in front, Vincent Davis, to get the pick.
So timeout on the field, and a comfortable lead for South Florida, 39 points. Tyrese Nick looks like his night is through. Corey Corey Fields in at quarterback, and now Quincy Hill, the number 3 quarterback, will get some reps here for South Carolina State. And when 14 comes into the game at quarterback for South Carolina State, one thing is inevitable. South Carolina State is going to run the football. That is what this young man does.
He is their zone read, zone option quarterback, and he is a quick individual with his ability to get outside of the pocket.
My luck, he'll throw for a huge touchdown here. But from what we've seen so far, he likes to use his legs as much as possible. Hands to the running back this time. All of these South Carolina State running backs have run extremely hard here tonight as Trayvon Thomas gets another chance.
Well, they are hard-nosed runners, and they put their head down and they fall forward. Every back that I've seen run the ball, they've run it effectively falling forward.
Corey Fields back in. So Quincy Hill goes to the bench. Fields now another chance to make something happen through the air. Rush comes, and he tries to get away from it. See the speed of that South Florida defense. Demarez Bellamy, they're so excited about this freshman linebacker, number 41 out of DeLand.
You see Patrick Macon also in there making plays, chasing the quarterback Fields. He's trying to get away. When you've got a 6'3", 245-pound man chasing after you, and then you've got Demarez Bellamy right in front of you, what do? You're getting sandwiched.
This kid could be a star for us. Lightning fast, tough as nails. Another punting situation. Benjamin gets it away. Oh, paying for it at the 35-yard line. That time is Sales. Don't believe he called the fair catch. And let's take a look. I've had a chance to follow some of these players for an awfully long time. I remember 2014, Ray McLeod out of nearby Sickles High School announces he wants to sign with Clemson. We called it the decision. Look at the guy at the left-hand part of the screen. Only in 8th grade at the time. It was Jordan McLeod, just a youngster. One day, he told me, he said, Drew, one day, I'm going to have my time in the spotlight.
But I'm looking at the guy all the way to the right. Who's that young fella right there with the suit on, looking real sharp?
Are you saying I've aged over the last 6 years? Incredibly. New quarterback in for South Florida, Blake Barnett. A chance to get some reps here late. Barnett working out of the shotgun from the 33-yard line. Throws this one down the middle and has his man, Jacob Mathis, with the catch, and that is right on target. So McLeod, the redshirt freshman, now Barnett, the redshirt senior for us. How tough is a situation like this moving forward, or is it a good situation where both guys can feed off of each other? Let you answer that right after this play as Bulls go back to the ground game and they're stopped with Joyner Jr. for a loss of 1.
Well, first of all, I don't think it's a tough situation at all when McLeod comes in and gets 5 touchdowns, 3 throwing, 2 rushing. Moving forward, you have to continue to be team-oriented if you're Blake Barnett. And understand it's not about you, it's about the team. I understand he wants to play. He's a senior. He's gone to 4 different schools. He thought he had found a home here, which he did. But they went on a 6-game losing streak last year. They lost the first 2 ball games. I don't put all that blame on him, but as the quarterback, you have to accept responsibility for those losses as well as getting all of the pats on the back when you get the wins. So for Barnett, he just has to play steady, continue to do what he does well, pass the ball. You never know. You're always an ankle sprain from being back in the ball game. But right now, I think going forward, Jordan McLeod is the guy.
They're down at 11. 5 of 12 tonight for South Florida as Barnett winds up once again, and this one's going to be incomplete at the 25-yard line. Nice play made there by Khalik Anthony. Forrest, you were a part, too, of many quarterback controversies. Brad Johnson replaced by Casey Weldon. A lot of Florida State fans say, what in the heck happened there? Also, Kenny Felder at one time was the guy. Charlie Ward eventually beating him out. Danny Cannell was pressed as well. It definitely affects a team, doesn't it?
Well, I think what was interesting about Kenny Felder and Charlie Ward, Kenny Felder was more of a pocket passer, but you had the offensive line, Young, myself, Clay Shiver, Greg Fry, Louis Tyre, Juan Laureano, Jesus Hernandez. We were all young guys, so you needed a quarterback that was more versatile, able to get outside the pocket, and I think that's what Charlie offered, and that's why he won that position.
Ball batted up in the air. Muff punt that time, and it's going to be an opportunity here for South Carolina State. Dante Anthony. Schrader, a mishap on special teams. Bulldogs get it when we return. Fourth quarter, 11:18 to play from Tampa. South Florida Bulls on the verge of their first victory in 2019. It's going to be a roller coaster of a season as we continue to see these scores come in for us. It's incredible to see Maryland lose today, Georgia Tech falling as well. We're going to see some surprising results around the country as the Bulldogs go back to the ground game and pick up a few.
And a great overtime win for the Citadel over Georgia Tech. But I think there's a lot of parity. And I think there's a lot of parity. You look at UCF right now. They're one of the best teams in the country. Kids are not going to all the Power 5 schools now. You're going to the Group 5 schools. They want to play. And when you've got teams that can compete for championships, you can't tell a kid that if you go to the American Conference, you're not going to be able to compete for a championship. Houston has always been around and been there. Memphis, Temple, UCF, this USF ball club. There are times where USF and UCF were undefeated facing each other in that last game classic. So kids are now going to different schools. There's parity around. When we were in school, you had FSU, you had Florida, you had Miami. Now you have UCF, you have USF, you have Florida Atlantic, you have Florida International. So kids are now going to these schools, getting playing time. They don't sit on the bench now and wait for their turn. They want to play right now.
They want to play right now, and if possible, they want to go pro in 3 years if possible. Third down and 3 for Corey Fields and the Bulldogs offense. Under 10 minutes now. Fields pulls it back, fires away. Ball is caught by Burrows. Able to stay in bounds. It looked like he tiptoed that sideline, but they're going to say he scored the touchdown.
I'm telling you, Drew, I see a lot of Anquan Bolden in this young man. He's such a strong after-the-catch runner. He does a good job of squeezing the football and then the balance to get north and south, the shake right there, break an arm tackle, the balance to stay in bounds and get to the end zone. This kid has potential to play on Sunday. I'm saying it right now. I know NFL scouts are taking a look at him. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He has all of the intangibles, everything that you look for, the vision, the strength, the balance, and the speed.
He's in the best shape of his life. See the strong hands that he has. Able to reel some of those balls in. That big one-handed grab he made earlier on tonight was something.
And he uses his size to get leverage on defensive backs.
Flag came down on the extra point attempt.
Illegal substitution. Kicking team. 12 men on the field. Retry 5-yard after the right. Retry after a 5-yard penalty.
I guarantee you Coach Strong and Coach Gene Mary are not happy about that play. Although they're going to win this ball game, those are the types of plays that you have to make if you want to compete as you step into conference play against tougher opponents.
It certainly looked like Burrows was out of bounds, but look at the replay. Not the case. The strength to stay in bounds and score. So impressive. Redison's extra point is good. South Carolina State with a pretty good showing tonight. Demontrez Burrows, remember that name. The The numbers tonight for Demontrez Burrows. There have been some great players in the past to come out of South Carolina State. Harry Carson, Deacon Jones, names like that. Not saying Burrows is in that caliber, but I'll tell you what, man, he has shown us something here tonight.
He is a player that I think can dominate in the MEAC. This kid can play. He's caught balls behind his back. He's contorted his body. He's shown strength. He's shown an ability to have balance and vision. I just really like what I've seen from this kid this afternoon.
Ball be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Well, next Saturday, ABC goes to Austin for Oklahoma State, number 12 Texas. Been 4 years since the Longhorns took down the Cowboys. Last win for Texas coming in 2008. Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ESPN and ABC. The ESPN app, that is. You can also watch it along with our network, ABC. Barnett in at quarterback here late for South Florida. And the Bulls will get the ball in the hands of Kelly Joyner. And you almost feel for Blake Barnett, the redshirt senior in his final season here in Tampa, a former 5-star recruit. He's got a 3.5 GPA. Slow start offensively this season for the Bulls. And Jordan McLeod taking advantage of the opportunity here tonight. Barnett's throw is going to be poked away this time, and that's good defense for South Carolina. Scott Robinson, 36, got a hand in that time.
And a dangerous throw by Barnett, but you have to understand, he wants to try and go vertical and get as many passes as he can. This is an opportunity for him to show the coaching staff that he's still involved and still engaged.
Threw for 411 yards last year. 411. One of the great outings of any USF quarterback. Bobbled up and incomplete. Jannard Phillips couldn't reel it in. For Blake Barnett, though, it's kind of been the story, Forrest, of his collegiate career. Had a shot at Alabama, couldn't fully grasp it. Then Arizona State, same thing. Played a little JUCO ball. Came here to South Florida, and you just want him to get that opportunity.
Well, think about who he had to compete against at Alabama. Jalen Hurts, who's having so far a Heisman-type year. Tua, and so I don't know if any quarterback would have been able to stay around. I think he did what was best for him, find a new home.
South Carolina State going to get the ball back here. And Forrest, right now you've got your scouting hat on, wishing you were working for an NFL team. What grades would you give Demontrez Burrows?
Well, you see his toughness right there to catch the ball, knowing he's going to get hit. And right here, this is one of the most impressive catches I've seen. He went Odell Beckham on him right there to snatch it out the air. You see him right there and break a tackle, fake a defender route, tiptoe down the sideline and power it over to the end zone for the touchdown. He's done everything that you want to see from a receiver when you're talking about the possibility of playing at the next level.
Coaches said this young man was savvy. At times throughout his South Carolina State career has been a little overweight. He's trimmed down though now, and he is lean and mean, and you see the result.
And I look forward to watching him throughout this season to see how he plays as they get into conference play.
.32 game. Fields and South Carolina State come out running the football once again. Several running backs have touched it. Corey Benson, the redshirt freshman, gets his turn. Vincent Davis, the stop for South Florida. Charlie Strong on the verge of getting South Florida back on the winning track. It has been a long losing streak for these Bulls of 8 straight. Steering the ship in the right direction here tonight. This is a game that they needed, and they certainly have responded. Coach Strong has been through a lot. And we talked football with him about his coaching career yesterday, Forrest. He has been through so much, and you've seen him move through the ranks, haven't you?
Florida, South Carolina, Louisville, Texas, now here at USF. And I think for Coach Strong and this ball club, they had to get back to learning how to win. When you lose so many games consecutively, you forget how to win. And I think this ball club is learning how to win again.
Rolls right, under heavy pressure, ball comes out again, another turnover, and South Florida not giving up on this one. They want 6 points with it. Turned into a game of rugby there inside the 5-yard line. Patrick making the play that time for the Bulls. It's been that kind of night.
Well, the quarterback doesn't feel the pressure coming from behind, and this has happened to Fields. You know, the same thing happened to Nick early in the ball game. You just don't feel that pressure. You've got to feel that pressure. And Macon had to sit out the first half, so you see him trying to drag everybody to the end zone to get the touchdown. Actually, that's not Macon. That's number 56 who got the ball and is trying to get to the end zone. Tyreek Jones. But he's dragging offensive players trying to get to that end zone.
Now a chance for Barnett to lead the Bulls into the end zone here. 7.5 to play. Try and run it right. Cut it upfield. Not much there.
And defensively, you couldn't ask for more. 7 turnovers that they've created this afternoon. A great job by the defense, being very opportunistic and knocking the ball out when the opportunities presented themselves.
Brian G. Mary, defensive coordinator, said we want to at least average 3 per game. Well, they've doubled that tonight. Seven turnovers produced by this Bulls defense. And now a 3rd and goal for South Florida, 48-16. You can see they're just trying to run as much clock here as possible. Terrence Horn will line up at the top of your screen. Kelly Joyner Jr. is the running back. Blake Barnett off the bench tonight in relief of Jordan McLeod, the redshirt freshman. In motion is St. Felix. He's been quiet tonight. Barnett looking for him in that corner. Instead, he goes to the back of the end zone for the score. Terrence Horn has it for the touchdown.
And what Barnett did so good on this play, he allowed Horn to clear the defenders. He didn't throw it prematurely. You see him sprinting to the outside. He lets Horn do a hook route, and Horn, he waits till he clears all of the underneath defenders and delivers the ball where only he can make a play on it.
(55-16). South Florida has done it on offense. They've done it on defense. They've done it on special teams. McLeod got it rolling with his legs early on.
Well, they came in with the idea they wanted to establish a rushing game, and McLeod was able to get it going, and then Ford untouched. A great job by Atterbury on the pull to clear it out for Ford to go untouched to the end zone. And then once again, you see McLeod, the speed, the good job, and the good read on the RPO to pull the ball back and get to the end zone because the defensive end crashed down.
Tell you what, I'm liking this offense for Kerwin Bell. That was the average coming in per rush tonight. They have certainly opened things up. 4.1 yards per rush. I mean, definitely not huge numbers, but still efficient, and that's what Coach Bell wants to see.
Well, you come into this ball game with a total of 119 yards rushing in 2 games, and you get 124 yards in this ball game. I think you got to pat yourselves on the back a little bit and say, hey, we got what we wanted to get accomplished. We established the rushing attack. We maybe did not have as many yards as we would like to have had, but we established ourselves with the ability to run the football effectively.
Well, the offensive coordinator, Kerwin Bell, part of this pro spread offense, says I take a little of Lindy Infante, a little Kansas City Chiefs style. Says it's been rough so far, but he says, I learned from growing up on a tobacco farm, when things get rough, you just got to work harder. That's all you can do, and eventually things start to work out, and tonight they certainly have.
Well, I think what he's done is he's been patient. It's a new system, new nuances, new play calls, new signals, and everyone has to learn and mesh. And one thing that he said that he saw in practice as they prepared for this ball game is the game was starting to slow down for his offense. And you see, he made the change at quarterback. He and Coach Strong, they sat down and they talked about it, and they made the change, and you see the results.
Kerwin Bell was originally offered a job by Jim Levitt to be the passing game coordinator here at South Florida 12 years ago. Time was not right. You know, also you see so many coaches today trying to jump ship, trying to move up the ranks quickly. Kerwin Bell spent a lot of time at Valdosta State, at Jacksonville University before that, Trinity Catholic High School before that. Never really was searching for a job. Jobs just kind of came to him, and it was Steve Spurrier who gave him his original break back in the early 90s when his NFL career was done. I think it's great to see coaches that just love their university. He says, I always had blinders on. I was never looking for that next job. Not the case with guys like Jimbo Fisher, that's for sure. Oh, I said it. I'm sorry. Dropped a little bit of a bomb there for us, don't you? We have a little fun. Hey, Florida State is leading 14-10, so I'll make it up with that. 3rd and 2. Corey Fields wants to look right. Pocket collapses, and he gets out of it. Gets across that first down marker, and they'll move the chains.
And there are a lot of positives to take away from this ball game for South Carolina State. You have to focus on that, not focus on the negatives. Now, one thing I do think they need to clean up is the turnovers. The quarterback has to be able to do a better job of feeling pressure coming from behind when he's scrambling with the football and understand the importance of protecting the football.
Fields hangs onto it, unloads it. Stiff arm that time. Really played hard tonight. There's some of the players they've put into the NFL. Alex Brown, Justin Evans, Joe Thomas Jr., Hargrave another, Darius Leonard. It's a pretty good roster there. Deacon Jones, though, I mentioned before, Harry Carson, those guys absolute legends. Corey Fields throws it downfield, and it's caught. Another good catch, Will Vereen. There's going to be a lot of film tonight that these Bulldog players are going to be able to put on tape.
You see Fields with a couple of ball fakes. He allowed his receiver to get behind the defense.
Roughing the passer. We're 58. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. Automatic first down.
And a good job by Vereen, high pointing that football. Vereen saw his quarterback scrambling, and he was able to get behind the coverage and sit down and make himself a target for his quarterback to get the ball down the field. And this is just unnecessary by the defenders. It wasn't too much. I don't think it's penalty worthy. But at the end of the day, once the quarterback releases the football, you can't make contact. And they had an opportunity to pull up, and they didn't.
First down. Fields standing in once more. Intercepted. Why not one more turnover before heading to the locker room? South Florida with Tim. Rather, that's number 16 coming up with it. Got to go down to the depth chart here. That's Brock Nichols, the junior defensive back out of Naples.
And you watch Nichols, he's just watching the quarterback's eyes. And when the ball, you see the ball, it's almost like the receiver gave up on the play, number 29. If he would have reached out, I think he could have made that catch, but I think he thought his teammate was coming across and was going to make it. And you see Nichols with the Mohawk. He's getting a great opportunity to play. And you love it when guys that are deep down in the depth chart get opportunities and they make the most of it.
Oh, look how happy his teammates are for him. Just know that opportunities like that are not going to come. He's out of breath. He's had enough. Oh, wow. College football is awesome. So South Florida showing certainly better days are ahead. And another new quarterback for the Bulls. And this is going to be, I believe this is Evans under center now for USF. Little stutter step. They'll take it out of bounds across the 20. Evans listed as a wide receiver, getting a chance to run the Wildcat here.
Holding. Offense. Number 57. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Half the distance to the goal. Still second down.
And in games like this where you know you've got the win, you want to protect your quarterbacks. We know moving forward McLeod's going to be the guy, but you also have to protect Blake Barnett because you've got some guys out here that are frustrated from South Carolina State. I'm not saying they're going to take any dirty hits, but they're frustrated. And if they get an opportunity to tee off on the quarterback, they're going to do it within the whistle. So take your guys out. Let them rest. You've got conference play coming up.
Rush this one straight ahead. See gang tackling going on. Ball comes out late as well. Didn't hear a whistle that time. Let's take a look at South Florida's schedule here coming up, what they got to deal with. Already dealt with Wisconsin and Georgia Tech for us. What do they have moving forward here?
Well, SMU has been playing some pretty good football. Connecticut, not so good. BYU had a tough – did they win today? I think they beat USC,
Absolutely
a ranked
did.
opponent.
Yep.
At Navy is one of those tough games you just don't want to play. That triple option is just difficult to stop.
How about this? Bursting out, Kelly Joyner Jr. A foot race now, trying to stay in bounds, and he'll go out after crossing midfield at the 33-yard line.
And Kelly Joyner Jr. has had some big plays this afternoon. You see the speed, the ability to find the seam. He's such a small player. And then the cut ability, a one-cut runner when he gets to the second level, and then it's just trying to outrun the defenders. We had a great angle, but watch the one cut right here, boom, and then right when he gets through the pocket to the second level, right here, boom. You see the defender right there gets turned around, and then you see the speed to get to the outside. A great play by Kelly Joyner Jr.
South Florida putting the finishing touches on this one. And now a chance for Kirk Weigel, junior quarterback out of Fort Mill, South Carolina, playing against a team from his home state. Six feet tall, 195 pounds. Also suited up for ASA College. Hand it off once more. Bulls will run clock. As we approach 1 minute to play in this game. South Florida Bulls going to get their first win of 2019. And it seems like it took forever for that win to happen. This season only 3 weeks old. But when you've had the type of results that the Bulls have had in those first 2 weeks, a loss and a blowout, and then one that they probably should have had at Georgia Tech, makes this one so rewarding. And they are not satisfied with points. They want more. They get it inside the 5-yard line, and imagine South Florida here will just try and take a knee or possibly let their reserves try and do some work.
I think they'll let the clock run out.
Yeah.
You got to remember there's a relationship there with Coach Pough, and it's not about embarrassing a ball club. You want to get the win. You want to get some good work for your ball club, but you don't want to embarrass an opposing coach.
See the game clock and play clock about similar. Fans want USF to run another play, try and score, but Charlie Strong, the classy move there. And that just shows you what he is all about. As South Florida wins 55-16. 8 forced turnovers tonight for the Bulls defense. Incredible.
And when we talked to Coach Gene Murray, he said he wanted to see turnovers. He wanted to average 3 per ball game. They came into this game with 3 total turnovers. Now they have 11 in 3 ball games. He's right where he needs to be with a little extra on it.
Two old friends meeting. Coach Pough for South Carolina State. Coach Charlie Strong for South Florida. 4 final thoughts here from Tampa.
Well, I think for South Florida moving forward, we know that McLeod is going to be the guy. He can make plays with his feet. It's going to be interesting to see how they do as they step into conference play and face tougher opponents. But there's some big wins ahead of them if they can continue to play like they played this afternoon on offense and on defense.
For Forrest Connolly, I'm Drew Felios saying so long from Tampa. Final score, South Florida 55, South Carolina State 16. All games airing on the ESPN network, streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Have a great rest of the weekend, and so long from Tampa.